Good morning and welcome to News on the Hour on Aneke TV, your trusted source for the latest and most trending stories. From across Nigeria and beyond, I'm Deborah Wakoba. And now to the headlines. President Tinubu says there is no Christian or Muslim genocide in Nigeria. The Kano state government has banned the activities of the group known as Independent Hizbah Fishabillahi. The Enugu state government has approved the expansion, reconstruction and rehabilitation of 1,022 urban roads. European Union governments have endorsed an indefinite freeze on Russian assets. The Central Bank of Nigeria has directed banks and payment service providers to implement dual points of sale connectivity within 30 days. And now to the details of the news. President Bola Tinubu has again dismissed claims that there is no Christian genocide in Nigeria, insisting that no religious group is being deliberately targeted for killing. He said the nation's security challenges affect all Nigerians regardless of faith. According to the president, insecurity in the country is rooted in historical, economic and criminal factors, not religious persecution. President Tinubu made the position known in Abuja at the Nasu Lahil El-Fati Society 8th Biennial Conference through the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi. The Kano state government has issued an executive order proscribing a group known as Independent Hizbah Fishabillahi. The government said investigations revealed illegal recruitment, training and mobilization of youths by the group. Commissioner for Information Ibrahim Abdullahi Waya said the activities violate the Kano State Hizbah Board law. He stressed that the Kano Hizbah Board remains the only legal recognized institution empowered to carry out Hizbah duties in the state. The Supreme Court has set aside the presidential pardon earlier granted to Abuja-based housewife Marianne Sanda. The Apex Court affirmed the death sentence imposed on her for killing her husband, Bello. Delivering the lead judgment, Justice Moore Adumain held that the prosecution proved its case beyond reasonable doubt. The court also ruled that the executive cannot exercise the power of pardon while an appeal is still pending. The Executive Director of Women Aid Collective, WACO, Professor Joy Ngozi Ezilo, has expressed concern over the rising case of gender-based violence in Nigeria. She called on governments at all levels to intensify efforts towards ending the menace. Ezilo spoke in Enugu during the grand finale of activities marking the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. She urged stronger protection for victims, including access to justice, shelter, financial support, and family reintegration. The Enugu state government has approved the award of contracts for the expansion, reconstruction, and rehabilitation of 1,022 additional urban roads. The projects form the third phase of the state's ongoing road infrastructure program. Commissioner for Works and Infrastructure Benjamin Oko said the roads span major urban areas of Enugu metropolis. The state also approved cultural festivities for the Christmas season and a 2026 business enabling reform action plan to boost investment. The prelate of the Methodist Church of Nigeria, His Eminence Oliver Abba, has urged Nigerians to embrace unity, faith, and selfless services. He said that rebuilding trust and restoring hope require an all-hands-on-deck approach. The cleric spoke at the 2025 service of 9 lessons and chorus held at the State House, Abuja. He encouraged Nigerians to draw strength from the Christmas message despite economic and security challenges. Children who miss vaccines unscheduled face heightened risk of serious illnesses, including hepatitis, tuberculosis, whooping cough, diphtheria, and measles. According to the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA, complications from measles alone can be severe, ranging from diarrhea and pneumonia to blindness and malnutrition. The agency stressed that completing all recommended vaccines on time is crucial to safeguarding children's health. The dangers of missed vaccinations extend beyond the children themselves. Dr. Amina Bello, a public health specialist, warned that adults carrying infections like whooping cough can unknowingly transmit them to infants, while pregnant women infected with rubella risk giving birth to children with congenital rubella syndrome. She added that measles infection during pregnancy can also result in miscarriage, highlighting that immunization protects entire families and vulnerable members of the community. Beyond personal health gaps in vaccination coverage can trigger disease outbreaks, increase healthcare costs, and reduce quality of life. The NPHCDA noted that government campaigns such as polio immunization drives are ongoing to prevent the resurgence of preventable diseases. Officials emphasized that vaccines remain a critical requirement for travel and school enrollment, reinforcing their role as a cornerstone of public health. Former President Goodluck Jonathan has expressed deep shock over the death of Bayelsa State Deputy Governor Cynthia Lawrence. Dr. Jonathan described the late Deputy Governor as a committed public servant and a true patriot. Former Governor Seriake Dixon and the Nigerian Governors Forum also mourned his passing. They described Ewudiakpo as a man of integrity, intellect, and selfless dedication to Bayelsa State and Nigeria. You're watching News on the Hour at Aneke TV. You can stay connected with us on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, all at Aneke TV. Now a quick look at major developments in the news. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu says there is no Christian or Muslim genocide in Nigeria, attributing the nation's security challenges to criminality and socio-economic factors. The Kano state government has banned the activities of the group known as Independent Hisbah Fishabillahi and ordered a statewide crackdown on its operations. The Enugu state government has approved the expansion, reconstruction and rehabilitation of 1,022 urban roads across the state. And coming up shortly, European Union governments have agreed to an indefinite freeze on Russian assets held within the bloc. The Central Bank of Nigeria has directed banks and payment service providers to adopt dual points of sale connectivity within 30 days to improve transaction efficiency. We'll be right back. Welcome back. European Union governments have agreed to immobilize Russian assets worth up to €210 billion that have been frozen within the bloc since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Most of the funds are held in Belgium-based Euroclear, with EU leaders considering a proposal to channel the money into a loan facility to support Ukraine's military and economic needs. Ukraine is facing severe funding shortages and requires an estimated €135.7 billion over the next 2 years, with Europe aiming to cover a significant portion, despite Russia accusing the EU of economic theft. Fresh fighting has continued between Thai and Cambodia forces despite claims of a ceasefire agreement announced by US President Donald Trump. Thai Prime Minister An Nutin said a ceasefire would only be possible after Cambodian troops withdraw and landmines are removed, insisting Thailand would continue military actions to protect its territory. Overnight shelling persisted along the border as Thai forces advanced on strategic position with at least 21 deaths reported and about 700,000 people displaced on both sides. The United States ambassador to the United Nations has accused Rwanda of pushing Africa's Great Lakes region close to war, just days after a peace deal was signed in Washington. President Donald Trump has described the agreement between the DR Congo President Felix and Rwanda's President Paul Kagame as historic, but renewed fighting has raised concerns. The M23 rebel group claims control of the city Uvira, with the US and European nations alleging Rwandan backing. Accusation Rwanda continues to deny amid fears of wider conflict escalation. Now moving over to business news. The Central Bank of Nigeria has directed all banks and payment service providers to implement mandatory dual connectivity for points of sale transaction within 1 month. The directive signed by the Director of Payment System Supervision, Rakia Yusuf, requires providers to connect simultaneously to NIBSS and Unified Payment Services Limited. The Apex Bank says the move will reduce POS transaction failure and strengthen the stability of Nigeria's electronic payment system. The Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency has clarified that the very large crude carrier MV Skipper arrested by the U.S. Navy is not registered with the agency. NIMASA also stated that the vessel's purported owners, Tomorrow's Global Ventures Limited, are not listed as a registered shipping company in Nigeria. The agency stressed that the clarification was necessary to dissociate Nigeria from alleged crew thefts and transnational crimes linked to the vessel. Still on business, the Nigerian Postal Service, NIPOS, has received 350 national identity number enrollment devices to enhance digital inclusion across the country. The devices were presented by the Korea International Cooperation Agency at NIPOS headquarters in Abuja. NIPOS management says the equipment will expand access to NIN registration, particularly in rural and underserved communities. The chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee, Taiwo Oyedele, has dismissed claims that government plans to deduct taxes directly from bank accounts. He described the reports as false and capable of destabilizing the economy. It attributed them to misinformation surrounding the new consolidated tax law. Oyedele explained that the tax recovery can only occur through court-ordered gamishi process, which he said are rarely used. The Dangote Petroleum Refinery has reduced the ex-depot price of petrol from 828 naira to 699 naira per litre. Market data indicates the 129 naira reduction represents a 15.58% cut in the price of premium motor spirits. The refinery says the adjustment reflects its commitment to maintaining competitive fuel prices despite global market pressures. The federal government has temporarily opened Section 1 of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway to ease traffic congestion during the festive period. The 47-kilometer stretch runs from Amadu Bello Way to a local village in Lagos State. Works Minister David Mahi said the move would significantly improve traffic flow and reduce travel difficulties in the Lekki-Ajah corridor. Still on business, the Enugu State government has unveiled plans to invest 10 billion naira as its equity contribution for the first phase of a 135.5 kilometer standard gauge rail project, a key component of its 2026 budget. The project is part of the state broader push to strengthen transport infrastructure and drive economic growth under the proposed budget of renewed momentum. Aneke TV correspondent Sharon now completes the story.
The Enugu State government has set aside 10 billion naira as its equity contribution for the first phase of a 135.5 kilometer standard gauge rail project planned for the state. The announcement was made by the Commissioner for Budget and Planning, Chris Robert Ozungu, during a media briefing at the NUJ Press Center in Enugu. The provision is captured in Governor Peter Mbah's 1.62 trillion naira 2026 appropriation bill, titled Budget of Renewed Momentum. The budget, the largest in the Southeast, reflects a 66.5% rise from the 2025 reversed figure and allocates 80%, about 1.3 trillion naira, to capital projects. According to Ozungu, the planned rail line is part of the administration's multimodal transport strategy involving rail, train, and inland water systems, and will connect neighboring states to strengthen regional mobility.
It's a kind of a moving train. We've achieved the ones we've done in this year. Yes, the one of Holy Ghost, the one from Soka. 9th mile is the one about there is other areas. Yeah, there is of course Apapa is done. It's on a mission, yes, yes, on a mission, but but having said that, they all come into stream anyway. So they're all in the pipeline coming, and it's going to be this next year. We're going to get them achieved. We have a good thriving digital training at SME centers, as part of what we give to our youth. So it's part of what we are going to achieve in this state, to be one of the best IT, forward-moving, progressive states across Nigeria and the whole world.
The government is also moving to scale up Enugu's air operations, with plans to increase the airline's fleet to 20 aircraft by the end of 2025. Enugu Air, which debuted in July with 3 planes, is expected to hit 6 before the close of this year. Another 10 billion naira has been earmarked as equity for the concession of Akunu Ibiam International Airport as the state pushes to establish Enugu as a regional aviation and logistics hub.
The provision of the additional aircraft for Enugu Air. These three is coming this year, before the end of the year. And I think for this budget, there are, 6 more. So we have, if I'm correct, about 15 aircraft by next end of next year.
In addition, 10 billion naira has been budgeted for a vehicle assembly program that will deliver 2,100 taxis for the Youth Empowerment Scheme and the State Distress Response Squad.
10 billion for vehicle manufacturing program, procurement and assembly of 2,100 taxis for Youth Empowerment Schemes and security, the DRS vehicles.
The Commissioner expressed optimism that the 2026 budget will outperform the current year, citing improved capacity, stronger revenue prospects, and what he described as the governor's private sector style of governance. I am Sharon Uche, Aneke TV.
For that, and now to entertainment. Singer Shola Allison has revealed her childhood experience with multiple religions. She explained that her upbringing moved her between Islam and Christianity depending on her environment. Allison said her mother, aunt, and grandmother came from Muslim backgrounds, so she practiced Islam while living with them. Later, when she lived in Christian households, she adapted to Christian worship. The singer described how this shift shaped her understanding of faith, noting that as a child, she had no control over her religious choices. Her story reflects the influence of family and environment of religious upbringing. And now to end news on the hour, here are the main points again. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has ruled out claims of religious genocide in Nigeria, saying insecurity is driven by criminal and socio-economic factors. The Kano State government has banned the group known as Independent Hisbah Fisher-Balihi and ordered a crackdown on its activities statewide. The Enugu State government has approved the expansion, reconstruction and rehabilitation of 1,022 urban roads to boost infrastructure development. European Union governments have agreed to an indefinite freeze on Russian assets. The Central Bank of Nigeria has directed banks and payment service providers to implement dual point of sale connectivity within 30 days. And that's news on the hour. For breaking news and eyewitness reports, call 070-304-37110 or follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, all at Aneke TV. I am Deborah Wakaba. Thank you for watching.
Hooray! It's Christmas. The King is born. Hey children, it's time to laugh, to dance and have some fun. Put on your dancing shoes and bring your friends along. Come on, it's the Aneke TV Children's Christmas Party 2025. Let's go! We got dancing, spelling bees, sack race, jumping 1, 2, 3, lots of games and surprises too. All we are waiting for is you. And venue is Aneke TV, number 30, Edinburgh Street, Ogwini Layout, Enugu. Date, Sunday, 14 December 2025. Time is 12 o'clock. Come take your seat. Don't be late. We can't wait to celebrate. Sponsored by Indomie. Yummy treats. Colgate, our smile so sweet. Kellogg's, bring the crunchy cheers. Malta Guinness, energy all year, powered by Nigerian Breweries, and this is the best party guaranteed. Come one, come all. It's Christmas cheers. Be there, be happy. The fun, it's here.
The federal government has launched a major drive to recruit thousands of new police officers and security personnel across Nigeria. We are here on the street to ask Nigerians if they would consider applying.
It's personally, I won't advise somebody to apply or not to apply. The truth is this: if government involved in this recruitment can be sincere to themselves, we can go in. But sometimes people will tell you that let's go to hunt. At the end of the day, they call you, see your leg is not of this thing. So that's the problem. If they are sincere to themselves, people will come and help. But at the end of the day, you see when they recruit you, they got their back and fire. So that's the way I see it. Well, I'm old enough to involve myself in such a thing now. But the young ones, I want to involve themselves. Let them do that. But let the government be sincere to themselves. Give them backup. No backup. Not when you give somebody sword to go and say you draw rent to beat that person. It's not good.
Police. For what? I like my life. Me where they could cost police people now. Maybe they can't cost me too. No is the answer, please. I don't find it honorable enough to serve this country in that capacity. Policemen, they are not as valued as they are in other countries. So why lay down your life for a country that does not care about you as a citizen first? Obuluze police. It doesn't make sense to me. There are places there are countries where if you open up mass recruitment, they will flock to join, but ask some other person. 1 out of 100 people will not even join. And even if they do join, they are joining because of lack of jobs, just something to be doing for the meantime before they get something better, because police in Nigeria is not a noble profession.
Some people may say, I love to be a soldier. But for me, even if a soldier to marry a soldier, I don't like it. Police and all of them is what? The same thing. And they're not uniform people. I don't like anything uniform. I don't know why.
Yes, I will. To protect my country and also to serve as a youth.
With the new mass recruitment, I would consider applying, but if the condition for applying is that I'll be sent to fight the war, I don't think I would. Not in the sense that I wouldn't, with the right training, I wouldn't be able to do the job, but I'm an only child. So I consider the fate of others, my mother especially, before any decision I make. If in the future, when peace has been achieved, if there comes an opportunity that comes up for me to be in any law enforcement agency, then fine and good, we'll do it. But for now, the instability would not help me, would not allow me to do that.
As Nigerian steps up efforts to tackle insecurity, the public's interest in joining the police and security forces seems mixed. I am Chinaza Ifeanyi, reporting for Aneke TV.
Aneke television. How agribo mu die ku nkwazo na ahia mgboju ogwugwu kakwu ogwugwu ma. How mbo wa bia na ihe ebube eme. mgbagbu ọgwa gbatawa na ihe ebube emewa Aneke telivishọn na-emere ogbenye mere amadi ihe ị na-agba nkwụ ị na-eme nkepụta nwa ị na-akwa ozu ị na-agba akwụkwọ bịawa na Aneke telivishọn bịa ka ezuoru gị ozi ọma bịawa na Aneke telivishọn idume na-emere ogbenye mere amadi ihe ụmụ Igbo bịawo na nke a bụ nke anyị ịmara ebe oge ọrụ etighị ụmọnwụ ntakịtụkwamogwu si nne ya mere ha ji wee weta
God. God is not far. He is in the stillness after the chaos, in the laughter of children, in the stranger who smiled at you for no reason. He is not confined to buildings or books. He walks with us in dust and rain, in heartbreak and healing. He is the answer before we even speak. To seek God is to seek love, and to find God, truly find Him, is to love deeper, live fuller, and give without counting.
There are two types of kola nut produced in Nigeria: kola nitida, otherwise called gworo, and widely eaten in northern part of Nigeria. Kola acuminata, also referred to as Igbo kola, is of local origin and occupies an important position in social, religious, and sacred ceremonies in Igbo society. It is seen as a vital and sacred fruit in Igbo land and serves as the major instrument of prayers connecting the ancestors. It cements discussions and also the fundamental bedrock of philosophy and proverbs. It is a symbol of welcome, unity, and peace. If kola nut contains one cotyledon, it is regarded as dump kola nut and thrown away. Kola nut with 4 cotyledons represents the 4 Igbo market days: Eke, Orie, Afo, and Nkwo. If kola nut contains more than 6 cotyledons, it signifies blessings and wealth, and it is celebrated. There is also another type of Igbo kola nut called Ojugo, which is referred to as the king of Igbo kola. The reproductive organ of the kola nut is referred to as the tongue, and it is removed after prayers and thrown to the spirit of the ancestors.
ndụ a na-atọka onye anabara nke ya na ụlọ agwọ ibe anyị adị nọ ogologo ndụ arụ ike na ọdụmma ihe eji ene ndụ anya na onye nwere ihe eji ene ndụ anya na ịrụfụta nwere ya ị mara na nsogbu rere ya olise bụ anyị na-ekene gị Chukwu okike onye ogologo ndụ na ogologo anya na-ahụ udo na ọchịchị anyị na-ekene na-ekene maka tata na-ayọ maka echi maka na ọsọ maka ebe echi anya mara na anyị adị ka echi na echi anaghị agwụ agwụgwụ na ihe ya adịrị anyị mma ndị be anya onwekwana ihe ọzọ na anyị enye ndị ichie jupụtara anyị na-ere nke
Sex is sacred, not shameful. In its truest form, it is more than the body. It is soul speaking to soul, fire woven with trust, vulnerability clothed in consent. But when misused, it breaks more than bodies, it fractures spirits. That is why it must be approached with reverence, not recklessness. Let us teach to love before lust, connection before conquest. For when sex is honored, it becomes not just pleasure, but poetry.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, 042, and a very, very, very good morning to everyone watching. You're tuned into Sunrise on Aneke.
Good morning and thank you for joining us on the Week in Retrospect. And I am still your host, Uche Osai.
And I am Deborah Wakoba, bringing you the retrospect today.
Alright, and as usual, in the Week in Retrospect, we continue to give you the perspective of all the news happenings around Nigeria and around the globe throughout the week. And today will be no exception. We'll have extra input into the program today, as we'll be speaking to a special guest on issues that is concerned to all of us. So today will be very well packed. Sit down and enjoy the Week in Retrospect with us.
Yes, and right after that, we'll be bringing you the newspaper for throughout the week, beginning with today's newspaper coming from The Punch, Vanguard, Nation, and The Guardian newspaper.
All right, and then when we move from there, we'll now introduce our special guest to you, who will be taking us on the 16th day of activism on gender-based violence. So with that, let's kick the ball rolling with the news headlines this morning.
Yeah, starting from the Nation headline that says, new tax laws. Banks to file reports on accounts with 25 million naira quarterly turnover. And also on the Nation headline says, alleged 150 million naira extortion. Power Minister reports Lagos profit to DSS. And at the top right says, frustration as skyrocketing airfares threaten Christmas travels. And also, still on the Nation headline says, Dangote slashes ex-depot petrol price from 828 naira to 699 naira per litre. And also still on the Nation headline, it reads, ex-minister Ngige arraigned over alleged 22 billion naira contract fraud. And also by the bottom of the Nation headline says, Supreme Court affirms Miriam Sandal's death sentence. And now moving over, the major headline on the Nation says, new tax law banks to file reports on accounts with 25 million naira quarterly turnover. And on the Punch headline, it's saying planned Christmas Day attacks uncovered. And also still on the Punch headlines, you can see many headlines on many stories on the Punch paper that says, police withdrawal, DSS officers lobby for VIP escort roles. And also at the top right says, Kwam 1 loses grip on Awujali's stool. And also at the bottom of the Punch headlines, we can see stories begin with no Christian Muslim genocide in Nigeria, Tinubu. And also inside Nigerians, growing wave of job seekers using stolen certificates. We can also see a story that says, how I broke FUTA academic record with 4.96 CGPA. Now moving over to the Vanguard headline that says, the major headline that says, more funds, more pains, poverty still rising as FG states local government areas allocations drop double in 4 years. And also we can still see other news on the Vanguard headline that also says, Eagles squad raises more questions than answers. Or also, tax reforms, no one will touch money in your bank account, Oyedele assures Nigeria. Another story that says, relief for commuters as Uber Sani maintains free CNG transport scheme. Another story says, supertanker seized by US for crude oil theft last sailed to Nigeria in 2024, says Nimasa. And lastly, bad governance responsible for coup. Activists react to Benin military action. Now, our last paper today coming from the Weekend paper that also says, in the headline, major headline says, West Africa unrest tests Nigeria. We can also see different stories coming from the Weekend paper that says, the rise influence of a president's son. And also, Supreme Court upholds Marian Sandals' death sentence. Alleged 2.2 billion naira fraud, Ngige remanded in Kuje prison. And lastly, how Bachana Chobo relationship turned sour. And the major headline on the Weekend also says, West Africa unrest tests Nigeria.
All right, let's start with the Nation newspaper.
Okay, the Nation newspaper that says, new tax laws, bank to file reports on accounts with 285 million naira quarterly turnover.
All right, when you take a look at the Nation newspaper, you will see that on these headlines we have many stories making round on the front page of the Nation newspaper. You look at a whole lot of stories there. Let's look at Dangote slashes S-Depot petroleum price from 828 to 669 per liter. And when you look at this, I think this is very dangerous, very generous, of the oil magnate Aliko Dangote, coming towards the festive season where the trend has always been scarcity of petroleum prices, and given the high rates to which Nigerians go for this fuel petroleum, and then he's coming out this time to slash this price, speaks to a lot about his humanity, about his person taking the plight of Nigerians into account. So for me, this is worth celebrating, that the oil magnate, is quite in tune with the demands and the cause of the people of Nigeria, who for a long time are asking for reduction in petroleum pump prices. And this will go a long way in helping with the reduction of cost of transportation throughout this festive season. Remember that in Nigeria, that more often during festive season, we'll see that the cost of transportation skyrocket, that a lot of people may find it difficult to afford the needed transportation to move from where the city of where they are domiciled, either to the hinterlands. So with this, I think Dangote has given Nigerians a Christmas present. And then if we still go on the Nation headline, the director, please get out the Nation newspaper. Still on the headline of the Nation, you see equally other stories making rounds. Ex-Minister Ngige arraigned over alleged 2.2 billion contract fraud. When we look at this issue, a lot of Nigerians may be quite celebratory that yes, that EFCC, the government is beginning to call to account perhaps corrupt individual. They will be said to be corrupt when they've been proven to be corrupt by a court of competent jurisdiction. And though many Nigerians are celebrating this feat, because nobody imagined that under this government that an ex-minister could be, arraigned in court for corruption. Having said that, the other spectrum are equally a lot of persons who feel that no, things are not being done right, where you're remanding the minister in prison, in prison detention for alleged 2-point-something billion naira contract issues, whereas there are other people, former governors as well, who are working free, showing us pictures of themselves in gym, who are not in any custody, given the homogeneous amount in question. And these people begin to argue that what is good for the goose should equally be good for the gander. And Nigeria, we should have one law. Different law shouldn't be applicable to different people. What we should see that to it that we have the same direction, the same law applicable to every Nigerian, irrespective of position, affiliation. Just like as many people are beginning to argue that perhaps because for example, the former Kogi State Governor Yahya Bello is a staunch member of the APC, and he seems to be a sacred cow, where people continue to, allege to the father, once you are a member of the APC, that your sins are forgiven. But I think the government should go a lot further so that they could disprove this trend as not being the right thing, rather that the law taking its course. And for us who believe that the corruption agency shouldn't be playing to the gallery by bringing these issues to the public domain, we hope that, unlike them, that this time around they've done their investigation thoroughly and are ready to see this issue to a logical conclusion. Then, moving away from the Nation newspaper, let's go to the Punch newspaper. And the major headline on the front page of the Punch newspaper, where we're talking about the planned Christmas Day attacks uncovered. This is quite, should we say unfortunate, but this has been always the trend in Nigeria, that during Christmas period there seems to be attack, especially on religious centers and around Nigeria, and this may not be unconnected with the activities of the terrorist bandits who've been operating heightened insecurity in Nigeria for quite some time now. But what is more worrisome is that this alert is coming not just from within Nigeria, but far away in the US, where a group, during their meeting said they have uncovered planned terrorist attack during the festive period around Plateau, Benue, and Kaduna Aziz, where we have a lot of Christians, domiciling up north. And it becomes more worrisome that in as much as we are fighting to, better the battered image of Nigeria as a country of particular concern, given that we are told that there's a genocide of Christians going on in Nigeria. We've tried a lot to change this narrative, but this whole information coming out now will equally make it more difficult for us to continue to, to persist and insist and then argue that no, these attacks are not just targeted at Christians, but a security situation on which every Nigerian, are victims, irrespective of religion or ethnicity, that the bombs or the gun of the bandits know no ethnicity, knows no religion. But with this uncovering, I begin to ask questions. Though some agents of the DSS are beginning to collaborate, that they have, yes, they have intelligence to this planned attack, though the government has come out to, say that alert, it may put fear in the people and is unfounded. But one thing that one cannot separate from these issues is that during festive periods in Nigeria, we witness a lot of attacks in Nigeria across the various regions. And what should concern Nigerians at this point in time is that the government should put measures in place to see that such attacks don't happen. The DSS, all security agencies should, heighten the alertness so that we'll be able to thwart this planned attack during the festive season on the Plateau, Benue, and Kaduna, if there's any symptom of truth to it. Why we should not waste our time arguing if it's true or not, but what matters is that we're able to nip it on the bud, that it doesn't happen at all. Then moving away from the Punch newspaper, let's take a look at the Vanguard newspaper. And on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper,
alright, front page of the Vanguard newspaper says, poverty is still rising as federal government, states, local government areas allocations double in 4 years.
Okay, let's speak to this very issue. You know that for quite some time now, we've been quite celebratory of the government's ability since the coming of the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in place. We saw the removal of oil subsidy. We saw the flotation of naira. With the buoyant oil receipts that this government, this administration, is receiving. And one thing we know, and every Nigerian is aware of, is that the three tiers of government have, are sharing a lot of money amongst themselves. There has been heavy generation revenue, orchestrated by this very government. But while we continue to celebrate, these homogeneous amounts that even the subnationals, a lot of times celebrate and credit Mr. President for, the concomitant effect on the people is expected that the generality of Nigerians should be living well, that there has been positive impact and upliftment on the lives of ordinary Nigerians, and this is not said to be so. Despite this homogeneous amount that is available to the subnationals, the local governments, and the federal, the people seem to, they slip more into poverty. A lot of times you see that the purchasing power of the people is not at par with the level of resources that is available to the state, to the subnationals and the local government, even giving the president the room at some point to tell the governors to make sure that they wet the grass more. When you look at the amount that is being shared in this administration, let's go back to as far back as 2022, where the government, in that period shared about 9.18 trillion naira, which from 2022 moving to 2023 has been seen a steady rise, where in 2023 they were sharing around 10.9 trillion in around 2023, moving into 2024, where they shared up to 15 trillion naira, cumulating to the 18.54 trillion that was shared between January and October among the 3 tiers of government. So what we're saying is that we expected that with this homogeneous amount, that we should feel the impact in the hinterland, in the states and beyond, that Nigerians should be able to say yes, that their lives are better than it was more than 4 years ago. But the cry coming out from a lot of Nigeria is an anti or in opposite direction to this very headline, where we know that we are celebrating, yes, there's more funds available to the subnationals, to the local government. But the question now is, what are they really doing with this money? Where is this money going? Does it have the requisite impact on the lives of Nigerian citizens, which should be the concern? And this money, when you take a thorough peek into that headline, you will see that no, that Nigerians are not living to this buoyant revenue, buoyant receipts that the government receives from the oil revenue, which we are told that things are looking very good. There's a lot of generation of funds. But beyond that, let's look at the issue of transaction. In this period, a lot of people complain of an increased transaction, which by 2026 will see a higher number of transactions on Nigerians, where people are becoming more worried about going to the bank, asking questions to know what their tax status will be come 2026. But most important is that government should see to it that the lives of ordinary Nigerians are impacted. Let's look at where we are channeling this money. Let's not continue to move revenue, move resources into elephant projects, into infrastructure projects that are of no means to the commonality of Nigerians. Let's see to it that poverty alleviation is a prerogative of every government, not the poverty of alleviation of numbers, where we would say that we are cooking for the poorest of the poor, or that we are sharing money to the poor in the society. Well, nobody knows or have these very statistics, and the question always is, who are the poor? Rather, when these resources are invested into collective projects that will improve the life of the people. Say, for example, look at power generation, for example. When you improve power generation, you see that it has a trickle-down effect on the people. Improve work on security, improve security, you will see that people will have access to the farmland, and the price of commodities will begin to, come down in the market, that the ordinary Nigerians will be able to find this very, very affordable. And having said all this, one thing we will not shy away from saying, or we'll keep talking about, when you look at the headlines that we have from the generality of news coming out from Nigeria is that government needs to do more, and we need to realize, especially when it comes to questions of insecurity, where we've seen heightened alert moving into the festive season, that Nigerians, all hands should be on deck. We shouldn't leave everything for government. Remember, like we always say, that Nigeria will be built by Nigerians. Having said that, we'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll continue to interrogate other issues.
Hooray! It's Christmas. The King is born. Hey children, it's time to laugh, to dance and have some fun. Put on your dancing shoes and bring your friends along. Come on, it's the Aneke TV Children's Christmas Party 2025. Let's go! We got dancing, spelling bees, sack race, jumping 1, 2, 3, lots of games and surprises too. All we are waiting for is you. And venue is Aneke TV, number 30, Edinburgh Street, Ogwini Layout, Enugu. Come take your seat. Time is 12 o'clock. Don't be late. We can't wait to celebrate. Sponsored by Indomie. Yummy treats. Colgate, our smile so sweet. Kellogg's, bring the crunchy cheers. Malta Guinness, energy all year. Powered by Nigerian Breweries. And this is the best party guaranteed. Come one, come all. It's Christmas cheers. Be there. Be happy. The fun, it's here.
Anambra State, located in southeastern Nigeria, is one of the nation's most dynamic and enterprising regions. Created in 1976, it takes its name from the Anambra River, a tributary of the Niger. Its land is steeped in history from the ancient Nri Kingdom, the cradle of Igbo civilization and spiritual authority, to the bustling commercial rise of Onitsha, one of West Africa's busiest trading cities. Every inch of its soil seems to breathe heritage, resilience, and the quiet power of innovation that defines the Igbo spirit. Anambra's people are known for their industrious drive, intellectual prowess, and unyielding creativity. Across Nigeria and beyond, they stand tall as business leaders, scholars, inventors, and professionals whose influence reaches every corner of society. From the sprawling market of Onitsha to the humming industrial machines in Nnewi, fondly called the Japan of Africa, the state exemplifies the fusion of tradition and modern enterprise. In Oka, the capital, new technology hubs and startups are springing up, harnessing the energy of a generation determined to build a future powered by knowledge and innovation. The state's endowments are immense. Anambra boasts fertile soils that yield abundant harvest of yam, rice, cassava, and vegetables, feeding not just its people but the wider region. Sources: crude oil, natural gas, kaolin, and limestone, waiting to be fully harnessed. With a well-educated populace and a vibrant entrepreneurial culture, the state's economy is driven by small and medium-scale industries that continue to expand Nigeria's manufacturing frontiers. Culturally, Anambra is the heartbeat of Igbo identity. Age-long traditions and legendary figures like Nnamdi Azikiwe, Chinua Achebe, and Dora Akunyili, whose contributions have left indelible marks on Nigeria and the world. Its towns and villages are known for strong community bonds and progressive values that inspire excellence in every field. Anambra's potential lies not only in its natural and human resources, but in the unbreakable spirit of its people, a people who see every challenge as a call to greatness. With expanding infrastructure, digital transformation, and a thriving creative scene, the state stands poised to lead Nigeria into a new era of prosperity. It is a land where heritage meets ambition, where history fuels innovation, and where the light of progress never dims.
Hooray! It's Christmas. The King is born. Hey children, it's time to laugh, to dance and have some fun. Put on your dancing shoes and bring your friends along. Come on, it's the Aneke TV Children's Christmas Party 2025. Let's go! We got dancing, spelling bees, sack race, jumping 1, 2, 3, lots of games and surprises too. All we are waiting for is you. And venue is Aneke TV, number 30, Edinburgh Street, Ogwini Layout, Enugu. Come take your seat. Time is 12 o'clock. Don't be late. We can't wait to celebrate. Sponsored by Indomie. Yummy treats. Colgate, our smile so sweet. Kellogg's, bring the crunchy cheers. Malta Guinness, energy all year, powered by Nigerian Breweries, and this is the best party guaranteed. Come one, come all. It's Christmas cheers. Be there, be happy. The fun, it's here.
So watching the week in retrospect on Aneke TV here today, and today we have with us our guest Chinedu Ndufwechi, a program manager of AGI, known as Access to Good Health Initiative. You're very welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
It's good to see you and have you this morning.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So let's just get straight into it. But before that, I hope it wasn't difficult, getting to get to the studio this morning.
No, it was not.
It wasn't. All right. Okay. We'll talk about the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. What are we really talking about here? I've heard 16 days of activism here and there, but there are a lot of people like me who ask the question, what is it really all about?
All right, thank you very much for the question. So 16 days of activism is kind of a connection from the 25th of November to 10th of December. So 25th of November is the day we celebrate International Day for Elimination of Violence Against Women, and then the 10th of December is the day we celebrate International Human Rights Day. So the Women's Rights Initiative in 1991 decided to have a campaign to run from that particular day of 25th to the 10th of December, which is celebrating the International Human Rights Day. So that is the connection. So these particular days are set aside for online campaign, education and also awareness, and holding the government accountable, and also trying to portray the stories of people that suffer gender-based violence. So this is what these particular 16 days are meant for.
All right. But one thing that cannot be taken away is that there's heightened attention about this year's 16 days of activism, because I'm meant to understand this is not the first time you are engaging on this activity. But why is it that there's heightened attention and awareness towards this very year's own?
Alright, so this year's 16 days of activism, I think is kind of special because a lot of organizations are standing up and they are owning the fact that there is gender-based violence in our country and also in the world at large, especially in Nigeria, where people suffer, women are suffering in marriages and young girls are being married off at a very young age. So these are the issues that have heightened up, and a lot of organizations have also received funding to to participate in these activities and also create awareness, and also the fact that we are in a digital age and people are coming out to talk more about the issues they face, and this has created this kind of awareness to show that this issue is what people are facing, and it has continued to persist, and a lot of people have picked interest and decided to campaign about this issue and also create the awareness that is needed.
All right, Mr. Chinedu, is this a Nigerian thing?
No, it is not a Nigerian thing.
Okay.
It is recognized internationally. The 25th of November is celebrated as the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. So this year's theme for that celebration is the elimination of digital violence against women, because it is noticed that women, they encounter a lot of digital violence against themselves, online, a lot of...
Sorry to interrupt. I hear you say elimination of digital violence. Yes. Sorry I interrupted, but a lot of persons, when you talk about digital violence, I would want you to throw more light on that so that, our audience, everyone can follow. Because when we've talked about violence, gender-based violence, we rarely hear about digital violence, and now we are hearing another term to it, talk about elimination of digital violence. So please, would you, as you elucidate on these issues, throw light on what you mean by digital violence.
All right, so when we talk about digital violence, we are looking at violence that happen digitally. It can be maybe over your social media. You can post a picture and people may attack you because of the kind of pictures you post, and then you can have an opinion and people are attacking you over that particular opinion. So digital violence can happen to anyone, and most especially currently LGBTQ individuals are suffering digital violence. You can post a picture of yourself and people are telling you, oh, you look too girly, or you look very manly to be a woman, or all those kind of comments. So these are the issues that we are facing. So people come online, they don't mind their business, it's a public space, and then when you bring your business to that particular place, people tend to criticize you, and also go to the extent of even tracking you down to hurt you or do things against you. So that is what we regard as digital violence. So this can emanate digitally, people tracking you down, people saying, oh, I'm going to beat you, oh, you are doing this, oh, you even live beside me, I'm going to track you down, I'm going to beat you, as a woman you're not supposed to do that, all those kind of things that happen digitally. So that is why we are calling on digital violence, because we understand that the digital space is growing, and people need to understand how to handle themselves digitally, and also how to respect other persons digitally.
Okay. Before I interject, you were letting us know the correlation between the 16 days of activism as we have it in Nigeria and internationally.
Yes. So this celebration is not just a Nigerian thing; it's celebrated worldwide. So everybody, celebrates International Day of Elimination of Violence Against Women, and also the 16 days of activism. People make posts, people make campaigns, people make videos. There are lots of international organizations that they talk about these. If you go to LinkedIn, you will see United Nations Women, all those international organizations. They are talking about this, and they are using that opportunity, to go over and beyond to talk about the issues that the marginalized community face, women and girls face, and also the LGBTQ community.
All right. You've mentioned the LGBTQ,
yes.
But we know that in Nigeria there is no law supporting that in Nigeria. And your organization, are you people still campaign for them when you talk about gender-based violence?
Yes, in my organization, we work with the less privileged, we work with the marginalized communities, and LGBTQ community is one of those communities. So we try as much as possible to handle issues of human rights abuse that happens to this particular community, and also try as much as possible to handle the issues. Now, there are no laws in Nigeria that are protecting this particular community, and that is more reason why this 16 days of activism is very, very important, because we cannot talk about violence, gender-based violence, without including LGBTQ community, because a lot of them face different issues, especially when as regards to gender. So a man can be, beaten because he's not representing the gender that they feel that he should be representing, and then a man can also, there are lots of things that LGBTQ people face, in their everyday life, and as a result of the fact that people are, it's a gender issue, or you're not supposed to do this because you're a man, you're not supposed to do this because you're a woman, and all those kind of things. And then these people face lots of challenges, especially digital violence and others. And for this year's International Human Rights Day, the theme was Human Rights Everyday Essential. So this just boils down in connection to the kind of activities or the kind of things that the LGBTQ community face, especially including women and girls.
All right. We are talking about gender-based violence. Let's get this picture clearer. A lot of times when you discuss with people about gender-based violence, when you hear them tend towards the rights of women and the girl child. But nobody seems to give attention more to the men, because I, for one, I know that there are men who are battered in their relationship. There are men who are beaten by their wives as well. People don't seem to pay attention to that as well.
Well, it's not like we don't pay attention to that, and I like the fact that you brought that up. But as a matter of fact, men tend not to, report these issues or talk about them more often. So it is always women that come to talk about how they have been abused and share their stories. And you can only work with the information you have, right? So if men have decided not to talk about their issues because of probably how the society is going to perceive them, then we don't know what they are suffering. But we know for fact that men suffer gender-based violence, especially maybe LGBTQ men that can suffer intimate partner violence, eviction from home, and others, physical violence against them as a result of the things, that happen at the back door and others. So men suffer gender-based violence, but it's always the women that are coming to speak up about this. And it's also important within these 16 days of activism to encourage men to talk about the issues that they face, because if you don't tell someone your problem, or you don't bring it out, nobody is going to have a way to help you. So it is also part of the campaign that we're having, that men should learn to talk about the issues that they face, because when you bring these issues up, people, women, or any perpetrator will be held accountable for these things.
All right. Still on this very issue, before we go back to looking at these 16 days, I'm very much keen. What do we do to help the men who doesn't come out to report about the issue?
Yeah.
Yes, because I feel that something should be done for them as well. How do we get them out from the closet?
Yes. So there are men that, this is a societal problem, right? So the society feels that men should be strong, a man should not cry, a man should not let out his emotions and all that. So if we want to address that issue, we should first of all start by sensitizing the society. If the society is cleansed, that the society knows that a man can cry, a man can let out his emotion, and a man can also be violated and even raped, right? There are men that are raped by men and also by women, right? So if men are encouraged to come out, and society would continue to encourage men and not look down on them or see them as a man, why are you reporting rape? Did you not enjoy it? Or those kind of things. So I think the society should be the one that will look into themselves and realize that men can also go through gender-based violence. And when the society starts to sensitize themselves, start to realize that these things are not just a women issue, and then they continue to include men in the conversation, and this would help to encourage the men to talk, because they know that if they talk now, that the society will look at them, oh, they are not even man enough to even to man up to what happened to you, right? But when the society have continued to encourage men and create a safe space, right? If the society creates a safer space for men to bring out these issues, it will be good for men. So that I think that is
all right. For the men, it seems to be the men against the society. And that. All right. But moving away from that, let's look at the women and the girl. A number of times, how do we really prove or ascertain to the fact that one is abused? Because there are instances where we've seen, even recently, where there were foul cries of abuse. At the end of the day, it was discovered to be a male allegation. So how do you handle, you're able to come in, find out that you don't get to punish the wrong person?
All right, thank you. So one thing we do in our organization when we are trying to resolve human rights violation cases is that we encourage our paralegals to do proper fact finding. So in the process of doing your fact finding, you are going to find out exactly what happened, because if someone can just run to your office out of malice or vendetta against someone else, and then they start talking about that this person have done this to me, this person have done that to me, without having any concrete claim. So what we do is to encourage the paralegals to go for fact finding, to find out what exactly happened. So you can not only talk to the victim, right, or the survivor, right, so we can also talk to the perpetrator and see how the accounts of both of them align, and also talk about eyewitnesses or events that may have led to that. So we try to do proper fact finding to find out what really happened, and also encourage people to tell the truth, because honestly people lie, right? But we understand that that happens, and then we try as much as possible to avoid prosecuting or trying to go against someone that may not have done anything wrong.
All right. When we return, we'll go on a short break where we'll watch a video concerning around gender-based violence issues. But when we come, we'll continue to probe on these very 16 days of activism.
All right, thank you.
The Enugu State Government, in partnership with the Economic and Social Empowerment of Rural Communities, has launched the state's Gender-Based Violence Task Force. The initiative, funded by the French Embassy Fund for Civil Society, aims to provide survivor-centered services, promote community engagement, and support economic empowerment for survivors. The project is built on 3 key pillars: community engagement, institutionalizing a multi-sectoral GBV response system, and economic empowerment. At the event, the Enugu State Commissioner for Children, Gender Affairs and Social Development, Honorable Ngozi Eni, described the launch as a major step toward ending GBV in the state. She called on government agencies, communities, traditional rulers, and security agencies to work together in protecting women, children, and the most vulnerable.
Today's gathering is not just an official launch. It is a bold declaration. A declaration that gender-based violence has no home in Enugu State. A declaration that we will no longer allow silence, stigma on institutional gaps to rob survivors of justice. A declaration that the safety and dignity of our people are non-negotiable. Through today's MOU, ministries, MBAs, security agencies, and partners will no longer work in silos. We are building a unified system that acts with one purpose and delivers with one voice. This task force will also enforce accountability and justice. Perpetrators must face consequences. Take note of must face consequences. Institutions must respond swiftly and effectively. No survivor should ever be re-traumatized in the pursuit of justice. This is very important. We must stop stigmatization of any kind. This fight belongs to all of us. Ending gender-based violence is not the work of government alone. It is the work of families, teachers, faith leaders, traditional institutions, security actors, civil society, religious leaders, the private sector, and every citizen of our states. Violence thrives in silence, but so does hope when we stand together. Gender-based violence is not an abstract statistic. It is the lived reality of our mothers, daughters, sisters, sons, elderly people, and persons with disability. It is trauma carried in silence, behind closed doors. But today, collectively, we say, this ends now.
In a speech, the Executive Director of Economic and Social Empowerment of Rural Communities, the Reverend Ike Chukwu, said the era of impunity for GBV perpetrators in Enugu State is over.
Today, we are not merely launching a task force. We are launching a movement that says no to sexual and gender-based violence, a movement that protects women, children, and the most vulnerable, a movement that ensures that when a survivor calls for help, the system responds and justice prevails. Together, we will build an Enugu State free from violence, an Enugu State where survivors find justice and perpetrators find nowhere to hide.
Economic and Social Empowerment of Rural Communities has successfully implemented a similar model in Ebonyi State, significantly reducing GBV cases. The launch in Enugu signals a renewed commitment to ending gender-based violence, holding perpetrators accountable, and supporting survivors to rebuild their lives. The launch concluded with the official signing of the GBV Task Force and the multi-ministerial Memorandum of Understanding by Honorable Ngozi Eni, the Reverend Nwogu, the Commissioner for Health, the Commissioner for Budget and Planning, and other key officials to ensure coordinated action. In interviews, dignitaries expressed confidence that the initiative will create a safer Enugu where every individual can live free from gender-based violence.
From the hospital perspective, you've seen people coming with physical beating, battery. You see people coming with sexual harassment, rape, and all that. You see people coming, children, women coming with all forms of abuses, even verbal abuses, all sorts of abuses that they mean and damage the human person. And so this is not something we can accept. It's not in tandem with the development goals of the Enugu State government under the able leadership of the President.
It's very important for a day like this. I thank God for a day like this. And I thank the President for giving us the platform of the Nigeria Republic, and thank the First Lady for supporting that on the Reducing Hope initiative and agenda. And again, our governor of the state, which is a pragmatic governor who thinks ahead, and the Commissioner for Chieftaincy, the Commissioner for Women Affairs and Children Development and Social Development, has done a good job with their PAMSEC to organize this.
Well, what we want to achieve is to see, we want to see a Nigeria, Enugu State, where if there is a GBV case, it will be reported. The culture of silence must end.
In NSCDC, we regard any act of gender-based violence
as a crime, not just against humanity, but against the development of our country. It robs individuals that are expected to be at their optimal performance in their offices. It robs them their peace of mind. It distorts the development of the nation. When the workforce are not in good shape to put in their best, the society at large suffers.
It all started from the Bible. God from day one have commanded us to go and fight for the poor, for the oppressed, for the violated ones, for the depressed, for the rejected and the ejected ones. And so it didn't just start, it originated from the Bible.
The event was attended by government officials, development partners, civil society organizations, security agencies, traditional and religious leaders, and members of the media.
All right, thank you for that video that we just watched. Mr. Chinedu, you saw that video?
Yes, I did.
Can you give a little insight on what we've just watched?
All right, I saw the commissioner, Honorable Commissioner for Ministry of Gender, Women Affairs, or Social Development, rather. I don't know what they're answering now, they always say their names. So I saw the woman and then other prominent members in the NGO space. They are, signing the task force for gender-based violence.
Yes, and I was going to ask, what's the task force really for?
Okay, so the task force is for, if you have any cases of gender-based violence, these are the people that you are going to call, and these are the people that are already on ground to help you in such cases. So when you report these cases, these people will take it up and then handle the issues for you. So that is why that task force is specially dedicated for that particular gender-based violence.
That's giving much awareness to the issue we're talking about. That this year, there seems to be a lot of awareness around gender-based violence issues. But let's go back to the 16 days of activism. What are we expecting within these 16 days of activism against gender-based violence?
All right, the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, we are expecting a lot of online campaigns, we are expecting a lot of, digital activities, campaigns, trainings, and creating of awareness, and also courtesy visits. So within this period is just the time for organizations to look within themselves. What are the activities that they were not able to, carry out, and then they can, chip them in within these 16 days of activism, and also mark that particular 16 days of activism. So we're expecting people to make online. For our organization, what we did for these 16 years of activism was to make online videos. So we make short clips every day to address a particular issue concerning gender-based violence, and then we also pay advocacy visits, and we also celebrated World AIDS Day. So World AIDS Day happens to fall within the 16 days of activism, which is on the 1st of December.
And it's part of the 16 days of activism?
It's not really part, but you can't talk about health without also talking about rights. Yes. So it's not like it is embedded, but it just falls within that time. So even before the activity, we did a lot of campaigns, creating awareness about HIV, because when we talk about HIV, we're also talking about rights, because a lot of people get HIV because their rights are violated, they are being chased out of their house, or they are being, there are lots of rights issues that are connected with HIV and health. So we, went personally with NSACA and also Caritas, went to secondary schools, Queens, Metropolitan Girls, City Girls, and other CIC and other secondary schools in Enugu to carry out HIV testing and also educate them on HIV. And we also had the rally that we did around Enugu State. We did at Artisan, we did at other places, and then we had a grand finale at Opera Square where we celebrated the World AIDS Day.
All right, a lot of activities going on.
A lot of activities.
Okay, well, before I get into other issues, let's talk a little bit about for example, a girl child who suffered violence. You understand? What process? How do we rehabilitate such individuals? Because there are cases where we've received, we've heard of incidents where perpetrators are members of one's family. Is there a way you will interfere to help these victims, either resettle them psychologically and find a permanent solution for them?
All right. For our organization, we don't just offer human rights services, we also offer psychosocial counseling. So because we believe that anybody that is a survivor of human rights abuse would also be suffering some psychological problems, and that is why we try as much as possible to ensure that if you are assessing our human rights issues, human rights services rather, we are also giving you, the psychosocial counseling that you need, because we believe that if you have been violated, there has to be some psychological cases, and then we also try as much as possible to rehabilitate this individual back into the society. If this happened by a family member, we try as much as possible to see how this would not happen again. Is it by, removing you from that particular environment or removing the perpetrator? So what works? What works for us is that we have a policy of do no harm, and also, the safeguarding policy that says that the interest of the client is what comes first. So we try to put the interest of the client first. What is going to be best for the client? As a young girl, removing you from the family, is it going to be best for you, or removing the perpetrator from the family, is it what is going to be best for you? So that is things that we try to consider in the do no harm aspects, like trying to ensure that it is always the interest of the client that we put first, and not the interest of any other person, or course the organization that is helping.
All right, but have there been real life incidents where you are confronted with such a dilemma about decision making on who to actually take away from the family?
Yes, there has been issues around that, and then we try, just like I told you, try to use the safeguarding policy, trying to know what is going to be the best for the client. But these issues are rather private.
Yes, but how difficult are they to that decision? How difficult is it?
The decisions about human rights violations, and they are they are not usually the easiest decision to make, especially for the fact that this is probably a family member, an uncle, or even a father or a mother that can or an auntie and an uncle that will violate a young person. So there is always that issue of we trust this person, he cannot do that. The parents will start by doubting what the child has said, or probably say, oh, the child said this, maybe out of this or out of that. And we also know that it is always very, very hard for the children to speak up against this particular type of issues. So it's not always the best decision for us to make. We hope that we don't get these cases, but when we do, we don't have any other option than to give the best quality services as possible.
All right. Okay, let's get into Access to Good Health Initiative, AGI. What does it stand for?
All right, Access to Good Health Initiative, AGI, is a non-governmental organization, a CSO here in Enugu. So we offer services that are related to health, human rights, and also community empowerment. So we work with the less privileged community, the marginalized community, including the LGBTQ community. We work on issues around HIV. We work on issues around human rights. So we have our head office here in Enugu. We also have our branch office in Imo State, and we also have people that are working remotely for us in other states like Ebonyi, across all southeastern states. So what we do is to respond to issues of human rights violation as they come. So if there is issue of human rights violation in Anambra now, I can call our Pralega in Anambra, Mr. Chidozie. If there is one in Imo, I can call Mr. Kenneth, Mr. Benjamin, or Mr. Nosike to respond to those issues. And then if there are issues in Ebonyi State, I can also call Mr. Porter that is in Ebonyi State and other of his colleagues. So what we also do is also to offer psychosocial counseling. So we have counselors that are trained. We have 3 counselors that are scattered around the southeastern states. So these people, they offer counseling, virtually, and also in-person counseling to help the victims or survivors of human rights violations. And also another thing we do is to document the human rights violation cases that we have, because sometimes when you go to government, they will be like, oh, there are no issues of human rights violations, especially for the LGBT community. So what we do is to use the data that we have gathered from the findings that we have made. We have a database where we store these things, so that if at any point the government is saying, oh, there is nothing like this, then we can open our data and show them, oh, in January this is what we got, in February this is what we got. So we are also in partnership with other government agencies like NSACA, National Human Rights Commission. We pay them courtesy visit, Ministry of Gender, just like we've seen, and then we pay them courtesy visit. We try to align our goals with them, so that if there are some issues that may be beyond our scope to handle, we can say, oh, since we have someone at National Human Rights Commission, let us just refer this issue to National Human Rights Commission, and then we can refer to them and be rest assured that the issue will be resolved. So once we have tried everything possible, but it's always rare that we cannot resolve issues. But once we've tried and we cannot resolve issues, we also refer to others. Another thing we do is also human rights education. So every month we gather community members in our office. We talk about human rights, because one of the issues about human rights is that when people are ignorant of their rights. Now, in Nigeria, no police is allowed to search your phone, right? If you don't know this, you can give your phone to the police, and when they search it and see something incriminating, they've already seen it, right? So it is within your right that the police should not search your phone. Do you understand? And then there are also other rights of privacy. If you're in your house, you're doing anything, nobody have the right to peep into your house and look at you, even your landlord. But these are the issues. So we talk about issues of landlord and tenancy law, issues of criminalization of same-sex marriage in Nigeria. How does it affect a normal, an average Nigeria, a gay man or a lesbian person in Nigeria? So these are the issues we talk. So we gather these people, we talk about these issues, we educate them, so that when you know your rights, you know when your rights are being violated, and then it is not when your rights are not being violated you start talking, right? So if you know your rights, and then you can also, when we educate you, be expecting that you're passing this information down to the next person, and you're also educating the next person. That education continues to go. Another thing we do in our office is also to hold our safe space. So we hold this safe space section where people come together, maybe survivors of human rights violations. They come together, they talk about their issues. Our counselors, we do collective bonding, collective healing, and people, talk about their issues, creating a safer environment for people to talk about their issues. So we also hold, certain strategic events like, International Human Rights Day. We can call people to our office. There are just so many things that we do that, I can't.
Yeah, a lot of activities, really very tough ask, especially when I hear you talk about the police, and a number of times, the police is difficult to control. Even when their IG gives order, you see a counter narrative on the streets. But when police are involved, how do people get involved and resolve such issues?
All right, so the police are always, a very tricky part of our work. So what we do is that we try to create a very good relationship with the police. Now, also what we do is to pay advocacy visit to the police station. Like in Imo State, we've paid advocacy visit to the particular police station that we know that this is where major issues happen. So they already know us, we already know them. Same here in Enugu. We are at One Police Station, Independence Level Police Station. We are in very good relationship with their DPOs and the people that are working there. So when these issues come up, we go to them and be like, oh, how far, this is what happened. They'll be like, oh, is it your people? We can say, oh, yes, so this is what happened. And then we can see how to resolve the issue. Because one thing with police is that the issues can just go from 0 to 100. You can come to report a case, and at the end of the day, they are working against you, or they're saying, oh, because this is already in the issue, then we are going to, turn it around. So that is why, that is the kind of, how we report with the police. So we have like a contact person in the police that we can call. Oh, how far your people have arrested, one of our guys. So how are we going to do this? Person can say, oh, yeah, do this or yeah, do that. So creating that relationship, long-lasting relationship with the police people, that is how we tend to work with them. Sometimes, if the cases we handle come, the police can even put a call and be like, how far your people are here, come and see how you can help them. You understand? So we usually have a contact person at the police station. These are the people that we interact with them, and then they help us to resolve these issues.
All right. Let me. You were involved in a lot of advocacy, but let me ask: how do you get funding for these activities?
All right. There are organizations that fund the kind of activities we do. As an NGO, we don't generate funding by ourselves, but there are institutions that fund us. They give us money to implement on the kind of activities we do, and those people would rather remain anonymous. They don't want to be exposed.
All right. Access to Good Health Initiative. Has it been in this fight for like how long?
Yeah, we've just celebrated our 12th year anniversary.
12 years in the fight.
Yes.
Wow, that's wonderful. Okay, now I always want to, very curious to know, is there a relationship between poverty and GBV?
Yes. Yes, there is a relationship.
Okay.
Yeah, but the relationship will not be regarded maybe something that is very, very straightforward. So maybe poor people tend to, be uneducated, right? And then when someone is uneducated, they don't know their rights. They don't know what they should do, what they should not do. They don't know that violence is not always the answer. They tend to resort to violence most of the time. And for the fact that poverty is equated to frustration at some point, when someone is frustrated, they also tend to take out their frustration by physical violence and anger. So I feel that, poor people are more likely to, be the perpetrators of human rights violations.
And victims as well?
Yes, and also victims as well.
Okay. Now, before I let you go, because it seems I'm asking a lot of questions here, is there any correlation between, let's say, the Christmas, we're entering the Christmas season, and JBV related issues? Do we see heightened cases around this period, or is it a period for you to actually rest from a lot of these initiatives and
Okay, so this Christmas is not. There are always issues, right? So there is no particular time that there would not be issues. But Christmas is time for celebration. People come from different places, from Lagos, coming down to their villages to celebrate Christmas. And I know that within this period that people are going to come together, there will be issues that are coming up. A lot of people are going to be addressing those things that nobody wanted to talk about, right? So I also feel that this Christmas is also a period where people experience gender-based violence, because you're going to come home, maybe as a wife in the family, you are coming home and then you're expected to do things that you're not ready to do, that kind of stuff. So those things are also issues that we need to address, because when people gather, there are always issues that are coming up, and then families are expected to gather together, friends are expected to see, people are also expected to face their survivors, because there are people that may not have talked about the perpetrators of human rights violations, people that have violated them or have made them feel some kind of way. So when we talk about violence, it's not always when a man beats a woman or when a woman beats a man. It can also be a psychological abuse that oh, this is not how it should be, but this person is abusing you emotionally and they are making you to do things that you may not have originally done. So that also, we also have economic abuse, right? When you don't want to empower someone, you don't want them to be constantly dependent on you, so that you be the one that will have the
Wow. Like for example, I have a brother who doesn't want to empower me. He has the resources and he doesn't want to invest in my life. So I can call on you people to help me out.
No, your brother have the right to choose how he's going to spend his money. But we are talking about when you know that this is your right. Maybe I am your son and I know that it is your right to send me to school, and you decided not to do that. Maybe because I'm a feminist man, you're telling me, oh, man up. It is only when you man up that I'm going to do that. Or your wife, you decided, oh, you are not going to work, you're going to stay in the house. I don't want you outside. All those kind of things. When the woman is outside, she's not economically empowered, and when she's not economically empowered, she's more likely to be abused.
All right. Finally, is there what you will do? Is there room for reconciliation? You will do reconciliation as well?
Yes, so part of what we do in our work is to use ADR, alternative dispute resolution. So we also try to ensure that cases do not get to police, or they don't get to court rather. So we try as much as possible to use our ADR skills, as our paralegals have been trained, to resolve these issues internally, instead of having a common ground and coming together to resolve and say, okay, you let this go, right? So that people, but there are some issues that we do that, and then there are some that we observe that this cannot happen, and then we ask the police to take it up and also take it to court. But there are also room for to resolve these issues. Maybe in the issues of land disputes, you can come in and say, okay, let us resolve this issue. Or in the issue of you don't want to empower your wife economically, okay, empower her or send her to school and all that. So if you have agreed to do this, there is no reason for us to take the issues further.
All right. Is there any public number that one can call when there are issues around gender-based violence?
Yes, we have a toll-free line. So we have a toll-free line. I can call the toll-free line, but I have to call from my phone.
Okay.
So if anybody's rights are being violated, they can call this line. It's for free, even if you don't have airtime. You can call this line. So the line is 080-3123-0410.
All right.
So this is the line to call. So we also have another dedicated line for our counselors. You can also call our counselors.
Okay.
Yeah, let me call that line. So the dedicated line for the counselors is 070-4829-3391.
All
so
right.
These are the numbers.
All right. Thank you very much. But finally, before I let you go, Mr. Chinedu, such a young man, how did you get involved in this line of work?
All right. My mom is a health worker. She's a community health extension worker in Nigeria local government. And as at the time that HIV became a very big issue in Nigeria, she was also working as a health worker. And then Oji River, where we live, was also a place of peculiar concern because of the police college that we have, the leprosy center, and also the prison services that we have. So as a result of this, she was very, very invested in HIV issues and also helping people that were affected with HIV. And she has attended lots of workshops, outside the states, maybe in Akwa Ibom and others, trying to learn about this HIV. And whenever she comes back, she begins to educate us on what she's learned. So my interest in HIV and also health-related issues and also human rights. That was when I started getting the passion to do that. And then I get to university. I studied sociology and anthropology, which is directly related to what I am currently doing. And I've also gone ahead to get a master's in medical sociology, where I am also specializing in HIV, which I also did in my undergraduate days, and now I'm also doing something on HIV for the key populations.
All right, your mom is really a key influence into why you're into this line of work.
Yes.
All right, very, very, very good one. And let me say thank you for everything that you will do for these issues concerning gender-based violence. We can't stop talking about it. Thank you very much, Mr. Chinedu, for speaking with us.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you very much for coming from me, and also thank you for watching the Week in Retrospect today. And do not forget to drop your thoughts or follow or tag us across our social media feeds across Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all at Aneke TV. Or do not forget to call our phone number 070-3043-7110. I remain Deborah Wakaba.
And Uche Osai. Till we come your way next week. Bye-bye.
As the Christmas and New Year holidays approach, the Enugu State Police Command is urging residents and travelers to stay alert and prioritize their personal safety throughout the festive season. In a statement signed by the Police Public Relations Officer, Mr. Daniel Ndukwe, the command called for greater vigilance, warning that poor planning during the celebrations often leads to avoidable security and safety risks. The police are advising members of the public to plan their movements carefully, remain aware of their surroundings, and report any suspicious behavior to the nearest security agency. Travelers are also being asked to check the security situation of their routes before embarking on any journey. On travel safety, the command is reminding motorists to ensure their vehicles are in good working condition, checking tires, brakes, lights, and other key components. Passengers using public transport are urged to patronize only reputable operators at recognized motor parks to avoid falling victim to one chance and similar crimes. Residents are further advised to avoid posting their travel plans or locations on social media and instead share such details only with trusted family members. The police public relations officer also highlighted key road safety guidelines. Motorists are encouraged to keep to speed limits, avoid night travel, stay away from drink driving, and reduce all forms of distraction behind the wheel. They are also urged to cooperate calmly with security personnel at checkpoints and take regular rest breaks to prevent fatigue. For those leaving town, the police are calling on residents to secure their homes before traveling. This includes activating CCTV systems where available, avoiding predictable hiding places for spare keys, and switching off all electrical appliances. The command is also warning against storing petrol or other flammable materials indoors. Parents and guardians are being reminded to keep a close eye on their children, particularly in crowded public places, and to spend wisely to avoid financial strain in the new year. The police have also released emergency contact numbers for those traveling through Enugu State. These include the command's emergency lines on 080-320-03702 and 080-866-71202. The command and control center numbers 112 or 091-346-66668 and 091-3444-8093 and PPRO's direct line 080-217-09005. Numbers for reporting police misconduct have also been provided. And finally, the Enugu Police Command is urging residents to exercise caution, stay vigilant, and enjoy a peaceful and secure festive season. The command also wishes the public safe travels and a prosperous 2026.
Methodist Church Nigeria, Archdiocese of Enugu, Chapel of the Redeeming Cross, has held its annual 9 Lessons and Carols service to mark the Christmas season. The event highlighted the biblical narrative of the birth of Jesus Christ through selected scripture readings and carols rendered by various choirs. The service opened with Angels from the Realms of Glory, led by the DVC Mass Choir, followed by prayers offered by the Very Reverend Dr. Joel Okore. 9 scripture lessons were taken by selected church members and clergy, beginning with the account of the fall of humanity in Genesis and culminating in the declaration of Christ as the eternal Word in the Gospel of John chapter 1, verse 1 to 14. Readers included Sir Chinya Koha, Sir Barrister Nana Obodo, Honorable Ikechukwu Namoko, Ezinne Fobi Ede, Engineer Donatus Obodo, Honorable Chimobi Okorie, Ifeanyi Nweke, the steward of the chaplain and the clergy.
Then the angel of the Lord called to Abraham a second time out of heaven and said, By myself I have sworn, says the Lord, because you have done this thing. I have not withheld your son, your only son. Blessing I will bless you. And multiplying I will multiply your descendants as the stars of the heaven and as the sand which is on the seashore. And yet,
for unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government will be upon his shoulder, and his name will be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace.
The Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord. His delight is in the fear of the Lord, and he shall not judge by the sight of his eyes.
After Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judah, during the time of King Herod, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem and asked, Where is the one who has been born King of Jews? We saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him.
Carols such as "O Come, All Ye Faithful," "Hark the Herald Angels Sing," "Why Shepherds Watch Their Flock," "See Amid the Winter Snow," and "Silent Night, Holy Night" were rendered by the Enugu Diocesan Mass Choir, Methodist College Choir, Emmanuel Church NGO Methodist, and TMC Choir.
Today rejoices with a joy that never dies, and we join those holy voices praising Christ, our hope and pride.
Blessed dawn, the wonder story. Christ is born in Bethlehem. Glory in the highest glory. Peace on earth, goodwill to men.
The service also featured a special presentation by Reverend Aneke
Far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I know that, O cross, where the dearest and best, for a world of lost sinners was slain. So I cherish that old rugged cross, till my trophy at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross, I'll exchange it someday for a crown.
The sermon, the Methodist Archbishop of Enugu, Most Reverend Christopher Ede, emphasized the true meaning of Christmas and urged the congregation to uphold love, unity, and unwavering faith.
As we gather to celebrate Christmas, we remind ourselves of God's incredible gift to humanity. He gave his Son, Jesus Christ, born in humility, to bring salvation to all people. God's love is for you and for me. He loves you deeply, knowing your struggles and your fears. He sent Jesus Christ to bring hope, peace, and redemption to a hopeless world that lacks peace and was ready for destruction. Jesus is the hope that God has given to us as a gift. Born in a manger, Jesus came for all, offering eternal life to all who will embrace it.
The event also featured offerings, choir ministrations, a joint rendition of the Hallelujah Chorus, the benediction, and the moments of entertainment and felicitations. The annual service left worshippers with renewed joy and a deeper appreciation of the message of Christmas. For Aneke TV, I'm Nancy Marian. Hooray! It's Christmas! The King is born. Hey children, it's time to laugh, to dance and have some fun. Put on your dancing shoes and bring your friends along. Come on, it's the Aneke TV Children's Christmas Party 2025. Let's go! We got dancing, spelling bees, sack race, jumping 1, 2, 3, lots of games and surprises too. All we are waiting for is you. And venue is Aneke TV, number 30, Edinburgh Street, Ogwini Layout, Enugu. Come take your seat. Time is 12 o'clock. Don't be late. We can't wait to celebrate. Sponsored by Indomie. Yummy treats. Colgate, our smile so sweet. Kellogg's, bring the crunchy cheers. Malta Guinness, energy all year, powered by Nigerian Breweries, and this is the best party guaranteed. Come one, come all. It's Christmas cheers. Be there, be happy. The fun, it's here.
The safety of the girl child remains a pressing concern in Enugu as incidents of sexual abuse continue to make headlines. Parents, communities and authorities are being urged to step up efforts to protect young girls and ensure they grow up in a safe environment. Today, we are on the streets of Enugu to hear what the residents think about safeguarding the girl child.
One measure you can do is good parenting, because if the parents are able to inculcate or try to make sure the girl child knows her limits when it comes to the opposite sex, she will be able to also protect herself. Then I also think that it has to do with the environment as well. The people she associate with, the people she allowed to teach her what she's supposed to know as a girl. For instance, if you are the type that always go out with the wrong people, you always become wrong. You understand? So the girl child is a real problem that should be considered by their parents and also by whoever the parent allowed to associate with. For instance, most of them, at the age of 13, you see them roaming the streets, going here, going there, and before you know it, a girl that was once good becomes bad out of bad associations and all that. So for me, for a girl child to be able to get protection, she must be able to know that she has a future and she must set her goal. And she will not allow anyone to talk her out of her purpose, what she wants to become. By so doing, she'll be able to end up well. Then protecting the girl child, it has to do with also the government looking into that. I think gender affairs, they are the one also in charge of that aspect. So they are able to do a lot, you understand? So for me as a person, the reason why I stood out here to talk about this is because I've seen a lot happening to a girl child, and I hate that with passion.
Parents will make time for their children, ask them questions. If there's anything they have to say, give them a listening ear. And if there is any problem they have to tell you, give them a listening ear to actually and if they tell you, don't neglect it, actually tackle it immediately. And also the government too should also give justice to those who have been abused, so that, and also to bring the culprits to book. And parents mostly, you should put eye on their children and also ask them questions, check their devices, because the smartphones we use these days are very corruptive. So check their devices to make sure that they're still on point, and yeah, also know the kind of people you leave your children with.
There are so many measures to take to protect girl child. The most important one is to educate them, because most times parents feel shy talking to their female children about sex, about their body. So the best thing is to educate them, tell them about their private part, tell them when someone touches them unnecessarily, they should report, all those things. Also, even if it's their dad, anybody, because now these days it's not easy. Girl childs are not safe right now, because they are even at the risk, even where they are supposed to be safe with their guardian, with their parents, they're even at risk. So the most important thing is that schools should take measures to educate girl childs, because most times female children that are abused don't even know that they are abused, because they don't know anything about it. So I think that's the best thing, educating them about it.
When you want to protect a girl child from being raped, you need to be friendly, you need to be lovely, you need to be a counselor, you need to be disciplined. But there are many ways to discipline any girl child especially. You know, there's a difference between male and female. The way you handle a male is not the way you handle a female. Most times, the way people used to say that now, Izuwanye sirike ngwongwo na ngwongwo juru ayaro. So, and we always need, like Oliver Twist, I need some more. So they will always like to buy ice cream, buy suya, do this. Most of the parents take their children out, and you don't take your children out from January to December. So they need all those things. So when you don't do it, you still shun them off. So what are you doing as a parent? So I believe you need to bring them home. Give them listening ear. Whatever thing they learn outside there in school, in exam hall, out there, wherever they go, you need to hear from them. And when you hear from them, bring them down, call them to order, tell them the truth about the whole thing.
As voices from the streets make it clear, protecting the girl child requires vigilance, education, and community efforts. From Enugu, I am Chinaza Ifeanyi, reporting for Aneke TV.
Culture is identity. Tradition is continuity. And heritage is memory. Together, they tell the story of a people. When we lose our culture, we lose ourselves. Celebrate your roots. Language, attire, food, and festivals. They are treasures worth preserving.
Ekene gị daalụ maka isonyere anyị ọ na Aneke TV ka anyị bata na nnọkọ ụmụ nwanyị ka anyị kpakwa ka anyị karịa dịka anyị si eme maka mgbe ọbụla ụmụada bata n'ọgbọ o nwere ihe ha ji wee bata na nke izu a ihe anyị na-eji n'anya bụ ọlụ dịalụ ụmụada ihe eji mara ụmụada n'obodo mgbe mbụ mgbe ndị dịka anyị na-eto ọtụtụ ihe ka eji mara ụmụada n'obodo dịka a na-ekwu n'ezinụlọ ọbụla nwaanyị kọ na ihe kọ ha otu a ka ọ dịkwa obodo ọbụla ụmụada kọ ihe kọ ha maka mgbe ọbụla enwe ihe dịka ọ na-agafe ụzọ ụmụada bata ha na edozie ya na nke taa ihe anyị na-eji neba anya dịka nsogbu ekwu ogwu ihe ahụ ụmụada kwesịrị ịdị na-eme ọ gịnị kpataziri na ada eme eketa maka ị na-anya ihe na-eme n'obodo ọ dịzịa ka ọ na o nwere ndị nhazi mana enwechakwa ndị nhazi naanị ihe ị ga-eme bụ sonyela anyị maka na mgbe anyị ga-akarịcha nke tata ị ga-ahụ ọlụ dịalụ ụmụada ebe ha na-emetie na ebe na ha anaghị emetie. Abụ m Ngozi Otahumele na nke taa ndị mụ na ha na-eji neba anya n'okwu bụ ndị ụmụada ndị ma ihe bụ ada ndị ma ọlụ ha dịka ada ndị na-alụkwanye otu o kwesịrị ime ndị mụ na ha nọ n'ọgbọ na nke tata wee bụrụ site n'aka ekpe m Adela Adena St. Rachel Ngozi Mank onye ọ na-abụ akpọ na nzukọ ụmụ nwaanyị mgbe ọbụla ọzọ anyị Adena anyị na-asị gị nnọọ na nketa imechi ị ga-akọwara anyị ihe bụ Adena maka nke a dara ụda Adena anụtụbeghị m ya mbụ onye ọzọ anyị na ya nọ wee bụ Princess Ella Chidimma Princess Ella Chidimma ka bụ nwata si akwụkwọ mahadum wee pụta ọ bụrụ ndị nwasị na fresh graduate mana ihe nji wee sị ka o sonyela anyị na nke tata bụ na ọgụ history gụọ maka ụmụada history na international relation wee mmalụ na o nwere ebe ihe si wee na-agafe ụzọ wee sị anya bịa kene ka o tinye ọnụ akachacha maka ụmụaka ka na-eto eto Princess Ella anyị na-asị gị nnọọ na nke taa m ga-ebido ebe ị nọ St. Rachel Ngozi ogbo m namesake m biko ihe ga-ebidogodo gịnị bụ Adena anụnwa maka ọ bata ọhụụ n'aha gị ọ dịbụghọ n'aha gị biko gịnị ka ọ pụtara
Igbo ndewonu ogbo m na-alụkwa Adena n'eziokwu ịkpọ m nwere dịka obi ọma na-enye m n'izu ụka gara aga ka e nyere m echichi a bụ Adena bụ aha a na-akpọ onye mepụtara ihe nwaanyị na abịrịba na abịrịba na-akpọ ya abịrịba na chokin so ị ga-asị na Adena ahụ bụ ada abịrịba Adena abịrịba so ịkpọ Adena onye bụ onye abịrịba ga-ama na onye abịrịba ka ị na-ekwu okwu ya and ọ bụrụ ihe na-ajọs tụtụta n'ụzọ izu ụka gara aga igwe ebe anyị ndị igwe zukọrọ ezukọ ma ndị nwoke ma ndị nwaanyị agbakọ ma ndị nọ na obodo ma ndị si esi ha natasịa etube ọtụtụ ụmụ nwaanyị ugo achọpụtara na ha na-eme ọfụma na ha na-emeguzupụta obodo iru n'ebe dị iche iche ha na-arụ. Mụnwa na onwe m bụkwanụ Adena St. Rachel abụrụ otu n'ime ndị tutere ugo a. Ọ na-enye m ezigbote aṅụrị. Ọ na-enye m ezigbote obi aṅụrị maka na ọtụtụ mgbe a na-asị a prophet is not without honor except in her own place ma ọ bụrụ ndị ọcha. Ya bụrụ na onye amụma da-ada ugwu na-aba amụrụ ya bụrụ ihe ukwu na ndị ebe ahụ mụrụ gị nechara anya sị n'eziokwu na ebu ezigbo mmadụ n'eziokwu na o nwere ihe na-arụpụta ha na-afụ anya. Ana m eji ya eme ihe egwuregwu. O mejupụtara m obi maka na eziokwu ọ bụrụ na ihe a na-asụ onye ọbụla tụta ego ole, ọ bụrụ na ihe a na-eme grade ndị ego ha ma mkpọ mana Chineke na ego ama nri ihe eji egote ya. So m sị gị na obi ọma ada akpa ma akpọọ m ya, ọ bụ asị. Ọ na-enye m ọṅụ pụrụ iche.
Daalụrị nne. Ọ ihe ruo
ndewo
ọrụ ị na-alụ maka ndị mmadụ oge ụfọdụ a na-agwa anyị na ihe ọbụla ị na-alụ obodo na-ahụ gị. Ị na-alụ nke ọma o, ị na-alụ nke ọjọọ, malụ na o nwee ugegbe na-enyo gị. Maka na oge ụfọdụ anyị na ọ na-azụ na-arụ anyị eche na onwe ha onye na-ahụ anyị. Ọ bụrụ na mmadụ ahụghị gị, Chukwu na-ahụ gị, mana mmadụ na-ahụ. Daalụrị nne. Ọ bụrụ ndị oyibo asị gị congratulations. Ebe m na-achọ ka ị metụ aka bụ dịka anyị si wee kwuo ụmụada n'ala Igbo. Kedu ndị bụ ụmụada? Kedu ihe bụ ọrụ ha?
Ndewokwa nwanne m nwaanyị wụrụkwa ogbo m. Ụmụada bụ dịka aha ya si daa bụ ndị amụrụ n'obodo, ụmụ nwaanyị amụrụ n'obodo sitere na mgbe ha dị nta ruo mgbe ha tolitere ruokwa mgbe ha lụrụ di ma ọ toru ihe eji nwaanyị eme, na-akụta ọkụ, na-akpata ego, na-arụ ihe kwesịrị ka ha rụọ. Ndị ọbụla na-enwe ha ada nne n'ụlọ ha, ihe mwute, ihe ihere na-eme ha, ihe mwute na-emere ha, ọ na-ewute ha n'obi nke ukwuu. N'ebe anyị bụ abịrịba, anyị na-eri ala na nne ka ihe ha pụtara na ụmụada bụ pillars, ihe jidere ikwu. Anyị na-enwe ihe a na-akpọ ikwu. So asị na ikwu nne bụ nọ ndị ụmụ nwaanyị ndị ahụ nọ n'ezinụlọ amụtacha na fọm ofu ikwu. Ụmụ nwaanyị, nwanne gị nwaanyị na nwanne gị nwaanyị nke ọzọ na nwanne gị nwaanyị. Ya bụ na ụmụ nwoke ndebe anyị adịghị ejikwa na ụmụ nwaanyị ha egwu ụmụ nwanne ha nwaanyị, maka na mgbe gboo ọ na-abụ nwaanyị na-emefe n'ebe di ya, ha ada nne di ya, ụmụnne ndị ya ndị nwaanyị ga-abịa sị ya ị ga-esi ebe a pụọ, ime ụta mee ụta ha. In fact nwere ike nwoke a nwere ike n'ọnụ ụlọ ụmụnne ya bịa kwapụrụ nwaanyị ahụ ngwongwo ya na-eri si na ọ dị eme ọfụma, na ọ dị eleta nwanne ha ọfụma, ọ dị enyeju ya afọ, ọ dị eme nke ọ dị eme nke ọzọ. Nwoke nwere ike okwucha onecha ya na nwunye ya dị enye ya nri, ọ dị eme ihe o kwesịrị ime, ọ dị elezi ụmụaka, ọ ga-akpọ ụmụnne ndị nwaanyị kọwara ha ihe na-eme. Ha bịa kpọọ nwaanyị ahụ jụọ ya ndekwe ihe kwuru, ọ na-eme na ọmaka ihe ma ọ n'ochike. Nwoke a nwere ike ọma anọdị n'ụlọ mbọsị a ga-agakwara ngwongwo ya kwapụ n'ezi. Ọ bụzi di na ya na di ya akpakọgo, di ya sị mba, ha agaghị ajụ nwanne ha nwoke ma ọ chọrọ, maka na ụmụ nwaanyị na-enwe ụdịka ịfụnanya pụrụ iche ha na ebe ụmụ nwanne ha nwoke nọ, nke bụ na ha dị ekwetu dịka ma ndị nke ma na nwanne ha nwoke bụ onye ọjọọ, ha dị ekwe ka mbọ tụsa ya na ọkọkọ ya. Enwere ihe ọbụla mere ụmụ nwaanyị ahụ ndị ada nne, ndị ụmụada bụ ndị a na-apụta ekwuchite n'ezinụlọ. Dịka ikwukwara mgbe gboo, ọ na-abụ okwu siri ike nwaanyị bata n'okwu ahụ ọ dị mma, ha na-eji ikikere aka, ha na-eji mọzụ abịa alụ dị ọgụ, mana ha nwere akọ n'uche zuru oke na-eme ha kpado, ha were uru ahụ eti ya, ha kwuo okwu ahụ, okwu ha danye m amara na okwu esikwala n'ego pụ, ụmụada ekwuola. Ndewo.
Ihe o jikwa wee dị m mma bụ na nwaanyị ahụ na-eme ihe ahụ ụmụada bịa nụsọ ọgụ ma ọ gbapụrụ ya egbu bụkwa ada ebe o si wee pụta. So ọ bụrụ na ọ na-eme ihe ọjọọ ya makwalụ na olu ebe nna ya na ọnụ ama nkwu ekwu okwu maka ọ da emeti
eziokwu.
Daalụrị nne. Ga-abịa ebe nọ Princess Ella. Kọwakene m na nghọta nke gị ma ọ ka isi wee gụọ akwụkwọ onye bụ ada na ọlụ ọ dị gị ka ada o kwesị ịdị na-alụ ka obodo wee dị mma.
Daalụ nne. Daalụ. Okay. Onye m ga-akọwa bụ ada bụ nwaanyị amụrụ n'ezinụlọ. Nwaanyị ọbụla ọ bụrụgodị na ọ bụ nke firstborn, ọ bụ ndị oyibo ha say first daughter mana ọbụ ọsọsọ first daughter ọ na-abụ nwaanyị niile amụrụ n'ezinụlọ bụ ada nwaanyị ọbụla na-eme ihe ezinụlọ ya na-aga n'iru. M ga-enye an example site na ihe m dere na my thesis mgbe m pụtara na mahadum. Ọ bụ maka ada enwe na Ebreba. Onwe ndị ada na-afụta ha sị na ihe ada aga ọfụma, ụmụ nwoke ha ihe na na-eshiri ha ike, and ọrụ ada bụ inekata ezinụlọ ya, ma ndị nwoke ma ndị nwaanyị, ma ndị si esi ma ndị nọ n'ụlọ. So ụmụ nwaanyị ahụ gbakọta sị mba na ihe na-ada aga ọfụma n'obodo na ụmụ nwoke ha na-anụzi ọgụ, ha na-ekewa obodo. Ha sị mba. In 1992, ụmụ nwaanyị jiri ụkwụ jewe Ụmụahịa in form of protest ma ọ bụrụ ndị oyibo ka ha gosipụta na mba n'obodo a ga-anọ ọfụma na o nwere ihe ga-eme obodo ha. So ọ ihe m fili bụ otu ihe ndị ada na-arụrụ obodo. Ha na-eme ka obodo na-adị mma. Ihe ọbụla ọsọ ha mee ma iji ụkwụ jewe Ụmụahịa ka ụmụ nwaanyị ndị Ebreba shi mee bụ ofu ihe ha na-eme ka obodo na-aga ọfụma. Ihe ọzọ ụmụ nwaanyị na-eme ndị ada mee ha ji bụrụ ndị ada bụ na ha nwee ike ha fụcha ihe ha nwa chọrọ n'onwe ha ka ọ bụrụ na ezinụlọ dị mma. Ka anyị sị for example na nwaanyị chọọ igotere onwe ya George ọhụrụ otu a ekeresimesi na-abịa, mana ọfụ na ezinụlọ ha enwechara nri ha ga-eri na ekeresimesi, mana ndị na-abịa ịfụ ha na ha enwere ihe ha ga-enye ndị ahụ na-abịa. Ọ ga-ahafụ George ahụ chọrọ igoro onwe ya ka ọ gbaa mbọ na nri dịgodi n'ụlọ yiri nke ahụ oyivu oge gara aga, because n'uche nke ya ọ bụrụ akwa oyi bụ ihe mee ya ada. Ọ ihe ọ na-eme ezinụlọ ya bụ ihe na-eme ya ka ọ bụrụ ada. Daalụ.
Daalụ rinne. Nkọwa ga ka isi wee kọwa anya dịka nwaada. Ịma na mgbe m na-ekwu okwu asị m na ọ dịka nwaada, obere nwaada sonyela anyị, mana nkọwa ga gafere nke obere nwaada. Nke a gafere nke obere nwaada maka ọtụtụ n'ime anyị ada aghọta ọrụ nwaada kwesịrị ịdị na Aneke na ụmụ nwaanyị jiri ụkwụ si Abịrịba wee gaba Ụmụahịa
bụ n'isi obodo ndị Abịa
ka ha wee jee gosi mwute ha na ihe ada aga ọfụma. Oge ụfọdụ ihe na-emebi n'obodo ka ndị na-emebi n'obodo ọ bụ ụmụ nwoke na-ejukwa m, mana ụmụ nwoke asị akwa na unu na-emebi obodo ọ nwekwe ndị na-egosi mana ọ maka na ụmụada hụ na ihe ada adịzi otu o kwesịrị ịdị, a na-enwe ọgba aghara, ha wee sị na ha ga-eme ka ọ dị mma. Daalụ rinne Princess Ella.
Ihe o kwuru maka ije ụkwụ a jee ije ụmụ nwaanyị enwere Aba Riot of 1929 ọgwụ ụmụ nwaanyị ihe bịakwara ime gara na obodo. Ụmụ nwaanyị abụlirisi mba na ha ga-ekwe, and ụmụ nwaanyị jeche ije ihe na-atụgharị adịkwana mma. N'ihi nke ahụ ọ kwuru n'isi ụtụtụ a na-echeta ya afọ niile kemgbe ahụ emechara the protest ahụ ụmụ nwaanyị. So a na-ejizi eme women celebration na Abịrịba kwa afọ, nke megokwara n'afọ anọ November 25th. Ya bụ abalị 25 ọnwa gara aga ka e mere ncheta ije ahụ ha jere mgbe ahụ nke butekwere n'udo. Ọ na-abụ mgbe ahụ ha ji jee ya n'isi ụtụtụ ka ha ji gawa dị ije, and ụmụ nwaanyị kwekọrịta na ha ga-eme ihe ha wuru ofu obi ha na-emeta ha chọrọ ịkwatu ụlọ ha ga-akwatu ya na-egbu oge. Ihe ụmụ nwaanyị mere mgbe ahụ bụ na ha gawara Ụmụahịa, nwere onye gwara di ya izu agbara onye itete n'isi ụtụtụ ọ bụrụ na nwunye ga-apụgo nsogbu adị. Mana mgbe ha hụrụ na onye niile ekwe ka onye ọbụla tetere ọchọwa nwunye onye ọbụla tetere ọchọwa nwunye ha, ma na egwu apụọla na Jurumi na every year na-emekwa orukwa mbọsị agwa ahụ echi nri adịkwa enwekwa ihe ahụ ihe niile a ga-eme a na-emewa n'abalị, onwekwe nke dị maka na ọsọ ga-agbakwa. So ya bụrụ na nke bụ eziokwu bụ na ihe ụmụada na-eme na ezinụlọ karịrị akarị. Obi dịkwa m ezigbo ụtọ na ichetara ime atụ ahụ maka oge Krismas a ihe ahụ a kwutere bụ ihe dị oke mkpa. Ọtụtụ mgbe ka ụmụ nwaanyị bụkwa na ụmụada na-enyefe onwe ha ka e nwere ike bụrụ na ezinụlọ dị mma. Ezinụlọ a bụ ma ebe a lụrụ onye a ma ebe a mụrụ ya makwa na ụmụ nke aka ya. E nwere ọtụtụ mgbe ọ na-abụ ihe agbanyeghị na nwaanyị eji onwere ezigbote ihe ọ na-eme, ọ ga-akpakwalịkalịka ka sị na ndị ada nne ndị ada nne nna ndị ada nne nne ndị ada nka ndị ụmụ nwaanyị nka onye ha agba mbọ tinye ka o nwere ike mee ihe ga-egbupụta ihu ezinụlọ ya.
Daalụrị nne maka nkọwa anụ wee kọwalụ Princess Ella gosi mụ na dịka nsogbu ekwuo na mbido na ezinụlọ ada ma nwaanyị na-anọghị ya ihe ka ọha ọsọsọ nwaanyị ka ọ ga-abụ ọnọrụ ọ bụrụ na o wetago ego ọ ga-eji gote akwa neta onwe ya anya ọ bịa n'anya ọ bụrụ na onwe ihe dị n'ụlọ ọ ga-eje dobie ihe ọ sọkwa anya bụrụ odobegodi ka ọ dị shọ na ezinụlọ ya na ọmụma dị juru afọ. Daalụrị nne. Nna abịakwa ebe ị nọ St. Rachel, ị na-anya n'obodo kịta anụnwa ọ dịzị ka ihe a na-agasa agasa ọ na ndị ada alụzi ọrụ ha ka ọ na gịnị mee?
Ọtụtụ ihe bụ ihe gbanwegoro n'obodo. Ọtụtụ ụmụ nwanyị na-emezi na ụdị na ana m ejekwa ọrụ ka ibe m jeje ọ dị ka na-echezo ihe kwesịrị anyị dịka ụmụ nwanyị. Ọtụtụ kwanụ bụ ndị na-emezi ihe a na-akpọ I don't care, put up I don't care attitude. Maka o nwere ihe na-eme mgbe ụfọdụ asị na civilization ọ imepe anya. O nwere ihe ndị bụ ihe a na-akpọ n'okwu oyibo core values. O nwere ihe bụ agbanyeghị otu isi mepe anya ruo ikwesịrị ihe ndị a kwesịrị idobe edobe. Maka sị na onye ji nke oji onye a si jide nke oji nọpụta na nke oji dị mma. Ọ bụkwa nna asị na mere gaa n'ihu ihe mbụ na ihe ahụ dịkwa mma. Ọ bụrụ na o nwere omenala dị mma nke mma na o nwere ndị dị mma ka ihe na-ewepụ ya. Maka ndị na-enwe obi chọrọ imewe ka ha nwekwara omenala ha na-eji egwu ka ezi ihe ga-emeni ị ga-eji tụfuo nke gị ka ị were nke ndị ọzọ tikwasara onwe gị. Ihe a na-eso n'ihe na-eme mma nkwu okwu ka hapụ isi ihe na-emebi n'ihi na narị na akwụkwọ nsọ nwere ebe a sị na evil na-eme prevail, ihe ọjọọ na-abawanye ụba maka na ndị ezi omume kwuchiri ọnụ. Ndị ezi omume adịghị eti mkpu mgbe ha kwesịrị iti, ndị ezi omume adịghị eti ọnụ mgbe ha kwesịrị iti ya, ndị ezi omume adịghị ekwu okwu mgbe ha kwesịrị ikwu okwu. Ya bụkwa ihe na-eme ugbu a ọ gbasa m maka na mgbe a na-azụ ụmụaka mgbe anyị na-etolite na abịa na-aga n'ụzọ ị nwere ihe ị mere n'ụzọ onye ahụ nọ n'ụzọ mgbe ahụ bụ okenye hụfụrụ gị n'ụzọ gaa nọ mgbe ahụ bido ozugbo correct ọ gwa gị nke bụ eziokwu, ọ gwa gị taa pụọ ebe ahụ taa pụọ n'ụzọ ihe anyị na-eme. Mana kịta onye ọbụla ga-ele anya para anya pafu. Ị chọrọ iwere isi kpọọ ị na-agọta, ị chọrọ iwere ihe ọbụla sọrọ gị na-eme, nke ha bụrụ ezigbo ya. Ọ eziokwu na ihe niile ọtụtụ ihe na-eme mmadụ onye ọbụla na-atụ ụjọ, onye ọbụla na-ezi onwe ya, onye ọbụla nwere onye chọrọ ka akpọọ ya ahụ ọjọọ ọma na soshal midia. Ị chọrọ ka sị na nwaanyị mekwara nke nwaanyị mere nke mana nke bụ eziokwu bụ na onye ọbụla ma onye maara ihe ma onye na-amaghị ma onye isi dị ma ihe bụ ezigbote ihe, onye ọbụla ghọtara ịfụnanya, onye ọbụla makwana nke bụ ezigbote ihe na itiri ọnụ maọbụ na mmadụ abụọ na-alụ ọgụ esi hapụnụ ka udo chia. Nwa onye ga-ahụ gị ya sị gị na imere ihe ọjọọ agbanyeghị ma ọ bụrụ na ndị ahụ kụwara ihe kụta gị ihe, mana nwere onye gasị na imere ihe ọjọọ. Kama ihe ị ga-eme dịka Baịbụl si kwuo ka amamihe akọnuche zuru oke bụrụ ihe gara agbazigo olu na ị chọrọ ịbịa gbasa ndị mmadụ abụọ na ị ga-ama otu ị ga-esi nọ ị ga-abịa daba n'etiti ya bụrụ ihe niile a ga-eti etikwasa ya na nke bụ eziokwu bụ na ụfọdụ ụmụ nwaanyị che na civilization bụ ịhapụ ọrụ na oke dere gị, mana ọ bụrụ eziokwu. Nke ahụ kwesịrị ime mgbe ị kwesịrị ime ya, kwuo ihe ị kwesịrị ikwu mgbe ị kwesịrị ikwu ya, kpaa agwa kwesịrị ịkpa mgbe ị kwesịrị ịkpa ya. Kpọtụ nwanne gị ma nwanna gị na-emehie si ya mba n'ụzọ adịghị ebe ahụ o nwere onye ga-akpụ gị afọ ọjọọ. Dịka anyị na-eme nke a onye nwaanyị ga na-agbanye ume.
Daalụrị nne. Dịka onye nwaanyị na-agbanye ume Princess Ella ana m abịa ebe ị nọ ọzọ ile n'anya na akparamagwa ụmụaka na-eto eto dịka ndị ọgbọ gị ndị nọ na agbata ọgbọ ụnụ nọ kịta anụnwa ifu na ụfọdụ omume ha na-eme adabachasị n'anya ya. Ọ dị gị ka ọ gịnị bụ ihe na-akpata ụdị ihe anụnwa dịka isi enene ha gị na ha na-afụ onwe ihe ọ dị gị ka ọnya bụ ihe merụ o ji wee dịka ha na-adafe ụzọ?
Ihe m ga-ekwu gbasara ihe a bụ na ndị ada anyị na-akpọ Gen Z onwe odoko ụma anyị nwere nke bụ na anyị chọọ ka ihe niile na-aga otu anyị nwachi chọọ ya and ịma na onwe otu ụwa anyị si na-aga kịta n'imere otu ndị ọzọ si eme ọ ga-adị ka isoro ihe a na-eme mana ka ada nwafọ Igbo ikwesị ịghọta ebe isi na-afụta ikwesị ịghọta na ọ bụrụ otu ụwa si na-eme ka ị kwesịrị ị na-eme mana ihe na-akpọpụta ihe ndị a bụ na soshal midia akọwago ụmụaka na values ha enwevu na ọ bụchacha ihe na-etrendi and ihe ụmụaka na-achọzi these days bụ ihe na-etrendi na ọ dị ekpo ọkụ ha chọrọ ya so ọ ihe m fili bụ ihe na-eme ụmụada kịta ọ bụrụ na ha na-achọ ịgafe ụzọ mana ihe ha na-afụ na midia ihe ha na-afụ ndị ọgbọ ha na-eme chichaa obodo ndị ọzọ and ịma obodo ndị ọzọ na otu anyị si eme n'ala Igbo abụghị ofu mana maka ndị ha na-afụ otu ha nwa si ebi ndụ ha efilizie n'otu ahụ ka ha nwa na-ekiri ihe nwa kwesịrị na-ebi ndụ ha ya mee na n'Imo kịta agwa nwaanyị mee nke mee nke ọzọ sị gị ka ihe eme nwanne ya nwoke ama mme ya ka ihe eme onye nke ama mme ya and ngwa gị eziokwu mụnwa na-emekwa ya because anyị aghọtago n'ụwa na anyị dịcha n'iche n'iche na nwaada abụrụ na ị ga-egbuzi onwe gị mana ikwesị ịghọta ihe dị iche n'iche ikwesị na-eme ka nwaada ghọtakwa na ọ bụrụ ihe niile ịfụ na soshal midia bụ otu gị nwa kwesị na-ebi ndụ nke gị
daalụrị nne nke a tọọ m iche nke ihe o ji tọọ m iche bụ iji aka wee gwa onwe gị na isokenye ya mana ọ pụtahụ na ịmahụ ihe bụ ọrụ nwaada maka gị nwee ịdị etinye ya n'akwụkwọ dịka onye gụrụ ya na mahadum ọ pụtara na ụmụ ọtụtụ ihe ịma ụmụada kwesịrị ịdị na-eme n'obodo dịka anyị si na-aga n'iru ihe anyị na-ene anya bụ ọrụ ụmụada n'obodo ihe anyị kwesịrị ịdị na-eme anyị na-emie ka anyị agafebego ụzọ okwu nwatakịrị a princess akwụ oketa anụma ọ bụrụ na o metụta gị na-arụ dịka o si wee metụta m megherie onwe gị anya ma a na-eso na ụmụ nwaanyị ụmụaka ndị Gen Z ndị na-eme ka soshal midia ndị na-eme ka ibe ha ka ha dị ka ibe ha ma ọ dabakwa n'ọfụma ka anyị gbatị ụkwụ ọ bụ na anyị gbatị ụkwụ gachite azụ anyị a na-aga n'ihu ka na-esonyela anyị dịka anyị na-aga n'iru na nzukọ ụmụ nwanyị nkata anyị tata na-ehido isi na ụmụada Igbo ọlụ anyị na-alụ ọlụ anyị kwesịrị ịdị na-alụ anyị na-alụ ya dịka o kwesịrị mana ama m na igete ntị n'ihe Adenna St. Rachel Ngozi kwuru ya na nke Princess Ella kwuru nke atọ ka n'iche maka oge ụfọdụ ụmụaka ọ bụrụ otu a ka esi eme ọ bụrụ otu a ka esi eme ọzọ otu a ka esi eme mana ọ makwa ihe ọ bụ daalụrị nne Princess Ella mgbe na-abịa ebe ị nọ St. Rachel Ada Ena ihe nchọ ịjụ biko ị na-anya n'ọrụ ụmụada na-alụ ụmụ nwaanyị na-alụ n'obodo ọ dịka na onwe ha onye ma ihe a na-alụ onwe ha onye na-asị ha daalụ dịka ndị bụ unu si wee fụ na o nwee ihe ị na-alụ wee sị gị daalụ maka ilegharị anya oge ọbụla ihe a na-eme bụ echichi a na-echi ụmụ nwoke asị nwoke nke chief of this chief of that chief of that ọ gịnị kpatara ada asị ụmụ nwaanyị chief of this chief of that ada echi ha echichi maka ezigbote ọrụ ha na-alụ mana ha nọ n'okpuru na-alụ ihe bara uru
ndewukwa ọzọ eziokwu ọ dabara n'onye ya na ugbu a na ndị ụfọdụ ndị igwe ndị ụfọdụ ndị na-achịkọ obodo ndị ụfọdụ ọtụtụ n'ime ha anya emebewara ha ịfụta ọrụ ụmụ nwaanyị na-alụ maka m sorokwa na-ekwu na ada eme ụmụ nwaanyị recognize ọ bụ na mbụ onye ụgha maka n'eziokwu recognize gị ụmụnwa and enwere ụdị ụmụ nwaanyị abụọ a mere recognize nke izu a ndị nke mbụ bụ ndị akpọrọ inyom abịrịba enwe anyị nwa akpọrọ Anwada ụmụada Adena, and etikọta ha eruru mmadụ 70 emere ihe a from ebe niile dị iche iche gburugburu ụwa. O nwere ndị bụ ndị abịrịba kpọmkwem, nwere ndị alụrụ alụ na abịrịba, nwekwere ndị mba ọzọ nọkịta mana a na-eme ihe na-esonyere ndị abịrịba n'ihe ha na-eme. Ọnụ ihe niile abụ ụmụ nwaanyị akpọrọ afọ mee ha echiche. And ọtụtụ n'ime anyị bụ ndị ọkpụkpụ ụmụ nwoke bụ ndị tụrụ aka sị onye a kwesịrị iso, onye a kwesịrị iso. And n'ọmụnwa na experience nwegoro n'ọchịchị maọbụ isonye n'ihe a na-eme, afụgo m na mmadụ wepụta onwe ya n'ije ozi jee ya ọfụma. Ụmụ nwoke adakwa na-alụso anya ọgụ, ụmụ nwoke ada alụso anya ọgụ. Ụmụ nwoke na-aghọta na ihe anyị bụbu onye enyemaka na anyị na ha na-arụkọ ọrụ a ime ka obodo na-adị mma. Ha na-echetakwa anyị, ha na-emekwa anyị appreciate. Mana ihe na-eme mgbe ụfọdụ ọ na-adị ka anyị nwa na onwe anyị bụ ụmụ nwaanyị, ọ dị ka mgbe ụfọdụ anyị na-eme ka anyị na-akwa nkụ. And ịma na ụmụ nwoke otu Chukwu si kee ha, ha kwesịrị ịbụ odogwu, ha chọrọ onye ga-abịa kwasara ha nkụ. Agbanyeghị ihe iji akwa nkụ a ma ọ dị mma ma ọ dị njọ, afụtaghala na gị na ha bịara na-eji ka ị chọrọ ebe kwara ha nkụ, iwe ọnọdụ meju ha obi, ha chọọ ka ha ga-esi zọnyụọ gị ka ọkụ. Mana nke bụ eziokwu bụ na mmadụ mara ihe ọma ọ na-eme, bụ nwoke maọbụ nwaanyị, lezie anya. Consistency is the bane of life and is the bane of success. Mmadụ ịgbado anya na-eje ihe na-eje, dowe anya gị na ebe ahụ ilekwasara anya. Ọ bụrụ na onwe ihe ilekwasara anya na-eje ozi, ị chọrọ ka anyị nwee mgbanwe n'obodo, biko legidesie ya anyị ike. Ekwekwala ka na mmadụ ekele gị ikwere ya hapụ, maka asịkwara gị na mụnwa na onwe m ajụla na mmadụ ejezi, onwere onye na-eto m, onwe onye kụrụ m aka, onwe onye mere nke onwe onye mere nke ọzọ, onwe onye ga-echetakwana m. Mana ọ bụ na ilegidere anya n'ihe anyị na-eme ya na-atụghị anya ekele, mgbe a ga-enyezi gị hụ na obiọma ga na-akpa gị ka o si na-akpa m. Ya bụrụ na ụmụ nwoke nke bụ eziokwu bụ na ụmụ nwaanyị ka n'ọtụtụ, ụmụ nwaanyị na-agbalịkwanụ, mana ka ihe na-edu gị abụkwala ihe a ga-enye gị ma onye ga-ekele gị ma onye na-ama nkele gị, maka ilewe ya anya otu ahụ mgbe ụfọdụ ị nwere ike daa mba. Ọtụtụ ndị ha na-enyebeghị kpọbeghị chie gị echiche, ọ bụrụ na ha ma na ihe na-eme dị mma, ha mụ ma na-anwa gị ọnwụnwa na-ele ma ị ga-ada mba. Ọ bụrụ na ị dahụ mba, nke bụ eziokwu bụ na olileanya dị. Mụnwa na onwe m ji onwe m amatụ na ndị otu m ndị ọzọ emere Adena na Inyomanya na abịrịba na n'ụbọchị ndị a na ịsị na n'eziokwu ha na-ahụ anyị. O nwere ofu ihe igwe nke tubere m ugo ahụ kwuru, ọ sị kemgbe ị batara na ọchịchị ndị town union ndị abịrịba na ihe dị iche adịla, ihe a nyere m obi eju, maka mgbe ụfọdụ nwere ike na-eji ozi ahụ ọ dịghị ka o nwere onye na-afọ, ọ dịghị ka na-ame gị ka na-akpagbu gị akpagbu, ọ dịghị ka ndị mmadụ ha chọrọ ịdọligbu gị. N'eziokwu nwere ndị nwere ike ịchọ ịdọligbu ụfọdụ, nke bụ eziokwu bụ ị na-eme ihe ọma, lekwasa ya anya, dewe anya ihu gị dị n'ihu, maka amarọ m na a na-emechi nye m echiche, amarọ m na enwere ihe a ga-eme. So ihe pushiri m into it abụrụ na m na-atụ anya ka eme m ka ma mee m nke ọzọ, mana ihe mma bụ na mụnwa na onwe m dị onye bụ onye dị uchu. Ihe ọbụla m wepụtara obi m na nna m na-etinye uchu n'ime mmeruo ya n'isi. So ihe m ga-agwa ụmụ nwaanyị anyị bụ n'eziokwu enwere ike anyị efile na na-enyecha anyị ugwu ruru anyị mgbe ọbụla, mana anyị jisi ike na-eme ihe anyị na-eme. Ihe ọbụla anyị na-eme dị mma, anyị jidesie ya gị. Mgbe na-adịghị ha aghọtawego onwe ha. Igwe anyị na-abịrịba na ndị oso ya achị ha aghọtala na ụmụ nwaanyị nwere ugwu, na ụmụ nwaanyị na-aga na ihe
ọtụtụ obodo ha adịghịkwe ka ụmụ nwaanyị bata na igwe kansụl, onwe ihe gbasara nwaanyị na ya. Mana kịta isi wee kwuo ya onye bụ na ndị nke unu mana o nwee ezigbo ọrụ.
Nke a bụkwa igwe kansụl, ọ bụkwa na igwe kansụl ka m nọ. Ihe a bụ town union. Town union bụ progressive union, bụ developmental union, ebe ahụ ka m nọ.
Mana ọtụtụ obodo adịghị ewebata ụmụ nwaanyị na town union.
Ọ bụkwa ihe ọhụrụ batara na nke anyị kwa, ọ bụrụ ihe a na-eme mbụ. Ọ dịbụ n'ihe a na-eme, mana ihe dịkwa iche, ihe m dịkwa ihe rịba ama dị na ihe ahụ bụ na e nwere constitution na-achị obodo kemgbe ọchịchị ahụ bidoro na 1942 1946 edere ya, bido town union na-eme na onwebe nwaanyị barị na ọchịchị ahụ, mana constitution enwere ebe o wepụrụ nwaanyị. Nwaanyị dịkwa ebe ahụ ka ụmụ nwaanyị na-enwe ha ji aka ha wepụ onwe ha, maka na nwere onye kpọbatara ma ọmụ ji aka m kpọbata ewepụtara na adị election, wepụta onwe m na m chọrọ ịzọ abịakwana na enye m ya na mama nọzi ndị osi chepụta n'onwe m na m nwere ike menwukwu ihe dị n'ihe mpụtazi ka m menu ha nye m ohere atụọ vootu atụnyere m mwepụtakwana onwe m na-eje ozi ahụ na-eje ebe ọ bara ha n'anya ya bụrụ na nke m chechara afọ 3 between 2021 and 2024 abịa tụọ ọnụ that one atụizere m general secretary
gbam ya bụ
ode akwụkwọ kacha ede n'obodo Chineke na-agbakwana m maka nke bụ eziokwu bụ na ihe a na-eme adịrọ fecha fecha ọ bụrụ ike aka ya ọ bụrụ ihe m ọzọ mana Chukwu nna iwepụta onwe gị Chukwu ga-agbago ume nke o si na-agba m
akachacha ọ bụ nọọ ihe ga-abala
obodo uru
ọ bụ ihe ga-agasa agasa
ka ụmụ nwaanyị nke hapụ ị na-eme ka anyị na-ama aka ọ ya bụ nke bụ eziokwu ọ ya bụ ndụmọdụ m na-enye onwe m na-enyekwa ndị ọzọ ka anyị hapụ iche na anyị na-ama aka ka anyị gburu ya n'obi na anyị na-ejere ozi a na anyị na-ejere obodo anyị na-ejere Chineke maka na onye na-akwụ ụgwọ bụ Chukwu and mgbe oge na-eru na ọ ga-akwụ anyị ụgwọ.
Daalụ nne. Na mmechi okwu gị Princess Ella, ke ndụmọdụ ị ga-adụ ụmụaka na-eto eto akachacha ụmụada ọ dị ka ọ na ha amaghị ihe ha kwesịrị ịdị na-eme n'obodo, ke ndụmọdụ ị ga-adụ ha?
Daalụ. Ihe m chọrọ ịgwa ndị Gen Z ụmụada bụ na atụzila ụjọ. Ị na-afụchi ihe na-eme na midia efilikwa na onwe ihe inwero because n'ịbụ nwafọ Igbo inwe ihe niile and ibudata onwe gị mụta ihe dị na ana Igbo mụta ihe dịrị gị ka ada ị ga-ama na ị kachagokwa ihe ndị ahụ ị na-afụ ihe ndị ahụ ị na-ebiri anya. So advice m na-enye ụmụada bụ biko nete onwe gị anya fụ onwe gị anya because ịfụ onwe gị anya fụkwa ihe ị na-eme anya ọ ga-eme gị were obiọma mewe ihe ị na-eme. Again mgbe ha na-ege edu gị ozi gị sịwa ka eme onye nke ama mme ya ka eme onye nke ọzọ ama mme ya megodi nke enye gị nwa before gị tụwa aka and matakwa na ịbụ mmadụ and ndị mmadụ fụ gị anya fụ onwe gị n'anya gị fụ ndị mmadụ anya gị mee ihe ị kwesịrị ime n'ezinụlọ na obodo cause nwaanyị bụ ike and gị nwa ịbụ ike. Thank you.
Nwaanyị bụ ike mee nke gị ọ bụghị ezie gị mee etogo onye ọzọ aka ezibeghị ọkwa ka o si nọ n'ụlọ si zie ka o si ka o mee nke ọkwa Chibụzọ nọ n'ụlọ zienụ Chibụzọ megodi nke gị rapụ nke onye ahụ rụọ ọrụ dịka nwaada n'obodo ị ga-afụ na ọganihu ga-abata. Daalụ nne Princess Ella. Na mkpokọta okwu gị Adenna ke ndụmọdụ ị na-adụ ụmụada ndị ọzọ?
Ụmụada a kelekwa m unu ihe m na-adụ dịka m na-adụ ụmụada na mmadụ onwe m bụ na ka anyị lekwasị anya n'ihe ruru anyị nke n'ọrụ nwaanyị na-ejikọ ezinụlọ. Even na akwụkwọ nsọ sị again a wise woman builds her home. Oke n'ọrụ dịrị nwaanyị ịhụ na ezinụlọ gbakọtara ọnụ. Oke n'ọrụ dịrị nwaanyị nkwanụ nwaada na o jikọtara ọnụ ma be nne ya ma ebe nna ya dịka mgbe m nyere izizi example m nyere sị na ndị ebe anyị na-abụ na ọ bụrụ na nwaanyị na-enye di ya nsogbu ụmụada abịa anụ ọgụ ya kwapụrụ ya ọ bụrụ na ya ga-akpọbụrụ ya kpọbata ya ma kpọbata anyị ekwukwe na nwaanyị ahụ kwanụ bụ nwaada na be nna ya bụkwanụ nwunye onye ọzọ kwapụkwa ndị ọzọ nwekwara ike bịa kwapụrụ ya ya bụ na tupu ị na-arụ aka tupu ị na-atụ aka na-afụta onye na-eleta nwanne gị nwoke ọfụma marakwa na gị were eletekwe nke gị ọfụma dịka anyị na-agbado anya na-eme ihe ruru anyị ị na-eme ọfụma n'ezinụlọ ebe a mụrụ anyị ị na-emekwa ọfụma n'ezinụlọ ebe a lụrụ gị maka o nwere ihe ndị ebe anyị na-esi asụ ọgọ bụ ikwu atọ ọgọ bụ ikwu atọ nke ahụ pụtara na ezinụlọ ebe ị lụrụ nwaanyị maọbụ ebe a lụrụ gị na o so bụrụ ezinụlọ gị dịka ị na-afụ nne na nna gị anya na ụmụnne gị anya biko fụkwa ndị be di gị anya dịka ị na-afụ ebe a lụrụ gị fụkwa ndị be di gị ọ dị oke mkpa maka ọtụtụ mgbe ụfọdụ na-efile na ndị be di ya dị iche ndị be nke ya dịrị iche o were akpamoke ahụ ma ihe ọ ga-egote dịka na-ala ekeresimesi ịzụtara ndị ebe unu akpa rice ndị be di gị echefu anyị ma ncheta dị ha chacha ekwulite na a ga-enye ha ihe ọgọ esu ekwekwere ka e bụrụ onye dị otu a dịka anyị na-agbado anya na-eme ihe ruru anyị obodo ga na-adị mma erite dị n'ime ya ga na-abịakwara anyị maka ihe obodo dị mma ụmụ nwaanyị ka obiọma ga na-akada akpa anyị emechie anya anyị rarụ anyị emechie anya anyị na-elepụkwara ibe anyị anya anyị na-elepụkwara ndị agbata obi anya anyị na-eleta ụmụ nebe anyị anya ọ dịrị onye na-agafe ụzọ ka anyị gbadata anya gbazie olu ma n'ihe niile ka anyị jiri amamihe na akọ na uche Chineke na-eje ozi ka anyị na-eme nke a ka ọ na-adịrị anyị mma n'aha Jizọs.
Amen. Daalụ nne Adenna St. Rachel Ngozi maka isonyere anyị na nketa nakwa ndụmọdụ a nke eduru anyị. Ama m na gị bụ onye ọma gere anyị ntị ma nenekwa anyị na ihe o kwuru dị n'anya ya na ọ bakwa nke ntị. Daalụ rinne Princess Ella maka nwa obere okwu anyị gwara ụmụaka. Ama m na ha ga-eji wee mere ihe. Ọ bụrụ na ị na-esonyere anyị n'ihe anyị na-eme, na-esonyere anyị na soshal midia anyị na YouTube na Aneke TV, na Instagram na Aneke TV, nakwa Facebook na Twitter. Ebe a ka ị ga-afụ ihe Aneke TV. Ọ bụrụ na ihe anyị na-eme na-amasị gị, sonyere anyị ebe ndị a. Wee ruo mgbe ọzọ anyị ga-akarịkwa abụ Ngozi Ọtahụmere ka emesịa. Ụmụada rụọ ọrụ dị ala unu ka obodo wee dị mma.